All right, man. The one and only Tomato Watcher, dude. I'm excited to have you. How you doing?
Um, Definitely a little nervous
I
because
can. Go ahead.
it's definitely the first time I've done anything like this, and I've had a very busy weekend right before this, so
Mm.
there's a lot. Yeah, kind of just got a lot happening at once, but I'm doing okay.
I got to get into how we met real quick because I'm almost certain it was just through chat, right? You came to my stream once.
No, actually, you came to my stream. You found me. You were
Is
looking
that
for
what
someone
happened?
to raid. Yeah.
That's what it was. Okay, okay. All right. So yeah. See, my brain's already rotting. So that's what it was. I was looking for someone to raid. We ended up rating you. You were very polite from what I remember. Very, very cool about it. Not too like. Cause I'm pretty sure that I asked permission because I try to ask permission before I raid
Yeah, you
people.
did, and I really appreciated that. That was
Yeah.
awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, because some people get overwhelmed, so you have to be careful with that. And I think there's like
Right. And
a.
even though I get overwhelmed kind of easily on
Mhm.
stream sometimes, the fact that I knew it was coming was very helpful all on its own,
Yeah.
or that knew that it could be coming
Yeah,
anyway.
because I think YouTube. Not only YouTube has a policy against it, you just don't want it to. If it's like someone who may get overwhelmed or like overly
Right.
stimulated, you want to be careful with that. You know what I mean? Because
Definitely.
it can get crazy. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it, and
I
then
have, yeah.
yeah, and then like the chat gets completely out of control, and you're not even sure what's happening. So we met through there. You started popping up in stream more. This is gonna come out the day before the tournament, but you have a guaranteed spot.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
I tallied all the total hours, and you were top 20, man. But kudos to Demented Darling, our mod. She's giving up her spot for you. You were 21st, but
oh,
because she gave up her
wow.
spot, you got a guaranteed spot. So you're gonna get a role in the Discord. I'm gonna talk about it probably in a video, either the same day or the day before. I gotta figure out how I'm gonna do it. So I think maybe Wednesday. I'll let everyone. So you'll get a role. The Discord will be locked down, and only you guys will be able to see like the code for like the first 4 rounds.
Right.
So shout out to her for hooking you up.
Yeah, that's awesome of her.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, we've been around since, man, and I discovered your music. Love the music. We got to talk about that. You've been streaming for how long now?
Let's see. I've been streaming for longer than the one on the I know the first stream that's not deleted or unlisted on my channel is from November or December because it was a stream of Fall Guys in the second Legacy season.
Wow.
I did a couple streams before that as well, random other things.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's super OG right there, man.
Yeah.
Do you miss it?
Yes. Yeah. Not season two specifically, but just, things were a lot different back then, and I think the vibes were much chiller.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I want to get into that. I'm always interested in your insight, which are very helpful, just in general with that type of stuff, and you're also very helpful in stream, which I really appreciate. You've helped me
Oh,
out a lot, man. Because a lot of people, for some reason, won't tell me things, and I don't know why. But like the sound will be off or something, or like I look a little off, or something will be out of sync, and you're very quick to let me know, which I genuinely appreciate you doing that. I don't know why people are kind of like, I guess maybe they're distracted because I usually stream custom, so I guess
yeah, that's probably part of it.
yeah,
If I think if it's something that I know can be quickly or easily fixed, I'm gonna point it out.
yeah, which I appreciate, by the way, seriously.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, you've been with us since. You're still working on the music, I see.
Hmm.
In college, if I remember that correctly, if that's something you want to talk about, um,
Yeah, I finished my freshman year.
of college,
Yeah.
dude, that's it. That's home stretch. That's the hardest part. Was it hard? Was freshman year hard?
Um, it was hard in a way I didn't expect. It was very different than what I expected because the workload. was not bad at all because my high school definitely way over prepared me.
Mm.
It was extremely hard. I basically didn't have a life outside of school for a couple of years. Excuse me, the workload wasn't
So,
too bad, but it's just it's hard to even explain what happened because it's been rocky and uh it wasn't really the work itself. Definitely, no, I had an issue with I've had the issues I've had were mainly like stuff that I've always struggled with, but hasn't mattered up until now, like like reaching out, asking for help, using resources and stuff,
yeah.
because there were points in my life where those were either unavailable or they only served to hurt me.
Mm.
So it's hard. It was hard for me to do that even when I really needed it. So
Yeah. Did
that's what
you?
ended up uh, tanking my grades a bit.
What do you mean? What do you mean by like asking for help?
If I'm confused on like I guess asking for help was a little vague. I meant like reaching out to professors and stuff
Mm. Do you have like?
because
Is
that's
there?
something you do need to do like a lot.
Yeah. Is there like an anxiety that comes with that? You feel like?
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. I still, man, and in my 30s, I still kind of struggle with that sometimes. Like, I'm, like, I don't know if you could relate, but I have a problem where, like, I'd rather just not say anything and just deal with things on my own. Like, not related to, like, things I don't understand, but just, like, things that maybe could be a problem that I probably should say something. I'd rather just go on with my day. I don't know if you feel what I'm saying.
I think I do
Like,
to an
let's say,
extent anyway.
yeah, like let's say someone doesn't understand me properly and they misinterpret something. Like let's say I'll, in a scenario, I'll give like some my boss didn't like something and I explained it one time and it's like it just didn't go through to her at all. And the next day she said something completely different than what I said, and I just rather just not argue. I'd rather just whatever you say and then just move on. You know what I mean?
Oh, that I definitely get. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's frustrating to like have to repeat yourself now. Whereas before I felt like I would argue about it. Like now that I'm older, I'm so exhausted. Like I just don't care. If you didn't hear me the first time, I'm just not gonna say it again. Like maybe that's not healthy. I don't know. What do you think?
Um, yeah, that's probably on the less healthy side of things, but I mean, I have that mentality as well, at least in a lot of scenarios. So, um, would rather just not cause any more trouble. So to, is one way to put it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not worth the energy or time.
It doesn't feel like it
Or at
sometimes,
least it
yeah.
feels that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um but you were able to break through that, you feel like this year?
Um, the second semester, I felt like I unquestionably did better than I did in my first semester, where I really kind of crashed and burned.
Mm.
So I'm definitely improving, and I'm feeling more confident about this next semester and the college sees that I'm improving too. They're giving me you know, some leeway as well, which is very nice.
Like in what way? Like you had to take some time off? You don't have to get into it, by the way. I'm
No,
just curious.
not quite. I'm not going to get super far into it, but
Okay.
I guess more so just like um yeah, I'd rather not get into it
That's
actually.
fine. That's fine. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I haven't been to college. So you're already doing better than me, so kudos to you. But I've always been told that the first year is the hardest. I don't know if that's accurate though, from your experience.
Well, I'd have to take the next 3 years to be sure, but
Yeah. Do you,
I can definitely tell there's at least some truth to that.
yeah.
Just adjusting.
Yeah. That's what I've been told a lot. Like granted, like this was back in what? goodness, now 2008, 2007, my teachers have told me that. So, I'm sure things are a lot different now. Um, but they would really emphasize the fact that, like, oh yeah, once you get through the first year, the rest are easy. But I mean, life is not predictable, and
Yeah.
everyone's learning ability is so different. But I guess since you were over prepared at least for the workload, but you can't prepare for everything that's gonna happen in life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Talk to me about content, man. What got you started into that? Making YouTube videos specifically.
Okay, well, um, the first few videos I put out were very, I don't know, I would have been like 13 at the time. Basically, the minimum age you should be on the internet.
Yeah.
So it was just random, like, there's like, I took like a video of some geese with my phone once and posted it. Some, and then, I remember I was sort of, inspired by some people on YouTube who made videos about things, very niche things that I was interested in, and tried to sort of emulate those a bit.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to explain. It's at the time I was mainly it's definitely like a hyperfixation sort of thing with me. It was on Lemmings, the Lemmings game at the time, which I've talked a little bit about before, or you've
Yeah.
seen a little bit about. I've never dropped that. It's been my interest in it is gone up and down, but I've never dropped it from then. And I know I got into I never had much of a focus for my channel, so I'm as all over the place as my channel was right now. But I would also that I started making music. Well, I wasn't composing, but it was 4 years ago by now. Did just random covers of pre-existing songs because I saw some other people doing stuff like that, chiptune stuff, and I really got into it. I don't really have a reason why I like that sound. It's just um I just I know for me the reason I kept going with it is because I find it really fun to work within like strict limits like that, see what you can do, stretch the possibilities and stuff. If you can make something sound pleasant or anything like that. I it's just in general, really. I do kind of like doing that, which is why I find kind of part of why I'm addicted to Fall Guys Creative at the moment.
Yeah, that's something I gotta write down. Your creative maps, man. You definitely have a gift.
Thank you. I am pretty proud of most of them.
You should be.
It's do we want to talk about that now? Or
Yeah, why not? I mean, yeah, I was kind of listening in. Um I definitely want to get into that. Let's start with the Lemmings game, right?
yeah,
When did you
okay.
first see that game?
Probably I think I caught wind of it like 4 or 5 years ago.
Hmm.
Just I don't know why it's got because it's a I've never been too into puzzle games, which is primarily what it is, but you know, it has it's a very charming game in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
The animation and stuff is really it's like teeny tiny little sprites, but it's very detailed and fluid and bouncy. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I just there are some other things too, but I just liked the look and feel of it and wanted to try it out myself. And I got it. I got would go on some of those slightly sketchy websites with emulators and stuff
Mm-hmm.
online, but I didn't have to download anything back when my main PC was a Chromebook actually. Uh, but I mean, I had some fun. Uh, and I almost sort of dropped it for a bit, but then I found this community for the game. They the Lemmings forums is a thing that exists, and there is for a while now. There's been a fan made engine for the game. It's modernized it, and it put in a lot of quality of life features and allows custom levels and custom games made in it, which is really cool. And
Yeah.
that's primarily what I play on stream when it's not Fall Guys. I
Yeah,
used to try and do like video series, let's plays of those, but those ended up not being very fun.
mm,
I grew to not like doing those very quickly, but doing it on stream format when I can just chill and talk to people, that is so much better. I
yeah.
enjoy that much, much more.
There's like a yeah, there's almost like a liberty in not having to worry about like sprucing it up with editing.
Right.
No. I watched you play it a little bit, and it seems to be like some sort of like resource management game. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah. That's definitely fair. Resource management, because you've only got a limited amount of skills, as they're called, to give the lemmings. You have certain abilities you can give them, tell them what to do, or like tell them to dig down through something or climb a wall. Give them an umbrella so they can survive any height fall.
Right.
And you've only got limited numbers of all of those, so you have to think about where they're best put to use. And people have made some honestly brutal puzzles out of it with the fan engine, but it is I find it really fun. It's really satisfying to find out the solution a lot of the time. It's a really satisfying puzzle generally.
You're just mainly focusing on getting them from point A to point B.
Yeah. And they'll make sure they don't die along the way because there's a lot of things that will kill them.
Yeah. The little lemmings don't have any means to defend themselves outside of movement.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't think the game has changed much in terms of like style and gameplay, but I know it was always around. I just never gave it a fair shake. And then watching you playing it, I was like, man, seems like just a fun little game to play when you have some spare time, you know?
Definitely.
Yeah, use your little something to use your noggin.
Hmm.
Um, is that you would say where you mainly when you found that game? Is that when you mainly found kind of like your love for that retro style music, like old school style gaming music?
Um, it was around the same time. I think I briefly had interest in a different game that was published by the same company, and of course, YouTube recommendations being as they are, eventually led me to the Lemmings game.
Yeah.
So, and that I think that's what more got me into music because that other game, it's a somewhat obscure Genesis title called Pugsy. It has banger music, and I think that's more of what got me into that, if I'm
Okay.
remembering right.
Yeah. Cause it's yeah, like I said, like when I first found your music, man, like I was like, this is like nostalgia therapy for me, man. Like as I'm listening to it, I'm just thinking about like all the games I used to play when I was a kid playing Sega Genesis. And sometimes it's just nice to go back to that feeling, you know? And I like that you kind of solidified what I was talking about because I talked about this in one of the episodes with my cousin on like how it feels like back then they really had to be creative with what they had, you know? And it was interesting earlier how you said that because you're so limited with the amount of tools you have to make that type of music, it pushes your creativity, right? Is that like fair to say?
Absolutely. That's fair. Absolutely. Yeah. That's
So,
definitely how I feel. I find it easier to make something in those conditions.
and it really pushes you.
Easier to
Yeah.
have an idea.
And that's what I
Yeah.
mean. Like, that's how we ended up with things like the Mario theme, the Tetris theme, the Sonic theme. like all these iconic soundtracks that everyone knows and loves, and yet it feels like as we had more tools, the creativity kind of goes down. Now, I'm not, maybe I'm not being super fair. I mean, I'm playing Metal Hellsinger now, and I freaking love that game's music. But it's just something about that drive that they might have had back then, man. I just feel like it's just unmatched nowadays by most standards, you know? And hearing you say that kind of like reinforced that. That's really cool.
Yeah, definitely.
So you started doing that music journey, and is this more like a passion project? Are you looking into seriously getting into like development, or is this how do you feel about it?
Almost certainly like passion project. Definitely. It's always something I've done for fun. I haven't done much development except for a ROM hack I did recently. And that's the closest thing I've done to development.
ROM hack. Okay, talk to me about that. How did that go?
Yeah, it's yet again related to Lemmings,
Okay.
the interest I've never dropped. Uh, it was one of the one of the things that made the games so kind of widespread in the 90s when it came out was that it was ported to everything,
Mm.
pretty much everything. It has had over 30 different releases since its original one. 30 different releases on 30 different platforms.
Yeah,
It's
that's crazy.
kind of insane.
Yeah.
So, so there was one for the NES, and it was really terrible, just so awful in so many ways. And I am not too long ago I started watching videos by this channel named Displaced Gamers,
Okay.
who um does a lot of looks into like old games code and stuff, and talks about the process of like finding out things in like a debugger for an emulator and stuff, which I thought was really, really cool. And it really helped me like understand like how to navigate that sort of thing. Because, you know, the code for those games, it's unlike anything you would see nowadays.
Mm.
You don't have there's no you couldn't really have a high level language on top of everything back then. You had to run raw assembly instructions, as it's called, and it is kind of difficult to understand, difficult to debug. So, but um, a lot of emulator debuggers nowadays will let you add comments and stuff and labels to certain memory, and it makes it a lot easier to follow. And I just thought that was really cool.
That is.
And so what started me like thinking about making the ROM hack was when I listened closer to the soundtrack for that game, which is really bad. It's also just awful.
Mm.
Um I noticed that beyond just being bad, I tried listening to the percussion and I realized it sounded broken, not just bad or just but broken. And I looked into it more and more, and I wanted to see if I could find like a root cause, one bug that led to it being that way, but it wasn't. It was not that simple. But all that looking through the code and marking things up, commenting everything, I was able to in that process I kind of reverse engineered the game's sound driver, and I decided that even though I couldn't like do a quick fix for the percussion. I mean, I kind of did, but not one that would work with the pre-existing music data. But so I went back and altered the music a little bit to fit the driver and make the instruments better because a lot of the instruments were really bad and unfitting.
Mm-hmm.
It just felt really cool and fun to do. It felt really cool to have figured that out and been able to mess with it
That is really
so
cool.
fluently.
How do you even
And on
like
top of that,
how do you even
oh,
like access that? Like how does that even like is there like a program you go into? Do you like go are you literally just looking at Notepad? Like walk me through that.
so the tool I used most for this process was an emulator called Messen,
Okay.
which is it just has really nice features and tools that let you see. It has a really nice debugger. It has, which is it's very capable. It has a window where you can look into all the different memory regions and just essentially watch the system's RAM,
Hmm.
which is a really good way to start like looking for patterns and seeing what does what.
All right, you called it Messin, right? Messin?
Yeah,
How you say that? How you spell that?
Messen.
Okay, so you use Messin. It has a good debugger. You go in there. Go ahead.
You can with the debugger, you can easily look at the code, but you have to really follow it carefully to understand what it does.
Hmm.
And it lets you label certain memory addresses, which are essentially like they essentially you they're excuse me, they're like the game's variables and stuff, like how they,
Okay.
but you know they're not presented as variables as they would be in modern programming languages. But if memory addresses are used for like the same thing consistently, you can label them. You can give them a label in debugger. It'll automatically put that label instead of the actual like hexadecimal memory address. It's just numbers. It makes it so much easier to follow.
Hmm.
And it was just really nice like seeing all the pieces come together eventually, because you can make the emulator stop running when a certain memory value is edited, like written to or read by the code, which is a good way to find like where the code that does a certain thing is. I hope I'm explaining this well.
Yeah, I'm following. I'm following.
All right. So, but so you'll understand like little bits of the code at a time. Usually, sometimes in my case, scattered throughout. And it was really nice seeing like the pieces fit together,
Hmm.
how everything was related, how certain values were used to do what things. It's just I don't know. It's just, and I was able to not just edit the colors on the screen and the music, which though even music data editing, that's not the hardest thing to do generally. But what I was really proud of was that I was able to change the gameplay mechanics as well of the game. It was really hard to understand, but I was able to look into the code that manages um how the game works and what
Yeah.
the lemmings can interact with. And it was just it yeah, there was so many pieces and parts to it, but I eventually like got an understanding of it and was able to make the game play better because there's a lot there was because the big thing about the NES version of the game is that unlike all the other ones where it's all based on pixels and so a lemming can say dig on any pixel or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, the NES version is tile based, so you can only do the lemmings can only do certain things on 8 by 8 pixel boundaries, which and it's usually clear where the boundaries are. So it's not, but it is annoying at first. And um after editing the game and going through all the trouble, I would say it's not actually that bad to get used to, at least in theory. But the all the other problems with the game, how horrible it looked and sounded, turned people away before anything else could happen. And even within the system, the tile-based mechanics don't have to be that bad, but the dev team made a lot of very questionable design decisions along the way that made the game way more annoying than it needed to be. So like there's one of the skills that has a lemming build a staircase at a 45-degree angle in that version. And since things can only be on tile boundaries, um, you know, a lemming would build like at the very edge of a block or whatever, and only there. So the biggest issue with those was that if you tried to build away from a wall, if the lemming was like in a corner between a floor and a wall, if you tried to have the lemming build right up against the wall, away from the wall, which you need to do in many situations, it is almost frame perfect to do it because of the way the game works. A lemming will not snap back pixels to start doing a skill. They don't have any system for that. And if you try and assign the skill before the lemming hits the wall, instead of turning around and building, it just it gives up. It just doesn't build at all. And it wastes one of the builder skills.
So that's just
Because
frustrating.
in Yeah, definitely. And in the original game, that skill would stop if the lemming hit a wall or ceiling, mainly to prevent cheesing levels.
Yeah.
Um, so so like it's sort of lined up with that, but like it's annoying because it makes something really frame perfect when it doesn't need to be. It shouldn't be
Yeah.
because there's no way to give like a few pixels of leeway in that version. It is only you do it or you don't. So it's just really so when you need to do it, it's really annoying and it makes a lot of levels really unfun. So that was the main thing I wanted to fix, and I managed to fix that along with a lot of other things. That was the worst example of bad design, but it was just it was just yeah, I was really proud of myself for everything I managed to do. It was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, teaching yourself code is an achievement in and of itself. So, like, I dabbled a little bit in that type of space. Um, Python mainly. I don't know if it's laid out the same. I'm curious if you have like any experience with coding.
I do. I've
Mm,
had some experience with programming before. I remember at a summer camp once they taught me C++, plus plus,
nice.
which is considered a very it's considered somewhat low level compared to other languages, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. But I found it I took right to it. It made a lot of sense to me, and I was able to code a little text adventure in it at the end of the camp, which was really cool.
That is cool.
And this last semester at college, they're having us work with Python, which is supposed to be a very easy to use language. It's slow. Um, like it runs programs slower. I think that's the way to describe it. But it's easy to use and it's very useful for a lot of things. It's I'm studying to be an electrical engineer, so and
Oh
it's a
wow.
very common language for engineers to use, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the C++ stuff I think is real popular with like Microsoft apps. So that there's been a big push for hiring people with C++, I think primarily last year. But Python is seems to be like the that seems to be like the Honda of coding right there. Yeah. That and Java. Java might be more of the Honda of coding actually. JavaScript. But
Yeah.
yeah, you could do a lot of good stuff with Python. So dang, electrical engineering, that's a big deal, man. You excited for that? Is that something that kind of like fell in your lap or that you already knew?
Um, I kind of had an idea of what I wanted to do for a while. Um, I've always been fascinated by electricity and electrical stuff. Yeah, my parents would buy me these sets of like electrical components, snap circuits kits, where instead of like connecting things with wires, you'd have them on like a grid and they had
Mm,
little metal snaps that connected together and it had little projects that tried to explain like what everything did. And I found them really cool.
How'd they figure that out? They were just like, hey, here you go, try this, or did you just like did they just kind of know? Like, how did you discover like you have a gift for that?
I don't know. I think my parents, I think it, my parents, I mean, I think I had some understanding of it for a bit before that, but my parents, I think thought I would like it more than anything else. So,
Hmm.
it was more just I think it was kind of a here, try this. And I didn't have the most firm idea of what I wanted to do for a while. I figured I wanted to do something engineering, but electrical is definitely where I'm going to go now. I remember before I ended up watching some videos relating to electrical engineering on YouTube
Hmm.
shortly before this, and I've actually learned quite a bit.
The most I've seen in terms of that type of subject would be like, and I really don't understand it. Is like you ever seen those like Raspberry Pi um tutorials on YouTube?
I've seen them. I think I've gotten recommended them, and actually, I'm remembering something now that I forgot. My mom would send me to like little evening classes uh somewhere nearby our house, I think, and we would work with Arduinos and stuff.
Yes, I know about those a little bit. Arduinos, yeah. Is so am I on the right realm when you say electrical engineering? Is that like the right realm, messing with the Raspberry Pis, Arduinos, and things like that?
I think so. Or those are definitely, at the very least, an Arduino has been used as a tool uh for a learning tool in my first semester here. We used Arduinos.
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, that's so fascinating, man. I knew you were gifted, but I didn't know you were gifted in that aspect. Do you feel like do you feel like you tend to be like ahead of the curve when it comes to like math, science, or anything like that?
Um, I would say so, and it was definitely the case when I was younger.
Hmm.
Nowadays, I mean, I think I learn, okay, math especially. It seems like I kind of understand it pretty quickly generally. Like even this the calculus 2 class I took this semester, it wasn't that bad for me,
Hmm.
and it's supposed to be the hardest one
Yeah.
of like the the first three like calculus classes, the general stuff. It's but and I did I did have some struggles, but the actual content I caught onto it pretty quickly. So I guess I would say uh math and science are my strong suits definitely.
That's awesome. Yeah. Having a gift for that is really cool to me. Cause I always struggled with math personally. Um, I wonder if that's like something that you'd have to foster, or if it's just one of those things where like if you got it, or you don't. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, it's really yeah, that's it's something it's really interesting to think about that because in a lot of cases it definitely is some of both, but I feel like some people just um I'm not going to say can or can't, but it's easier for them to learn uh to foster that or
Yeah,
harder for them to foster something like that.
yeah. Like you said, like you were alluding to earlier, you caught onto it really quick. It kind of just came to you just watching, those YouTube videos. You started learning things quick. It's certainly a gift, man, because seeing that stuff is like mind boggling to me. But it's good to know that I know someone that's fascinated by that type of stuff because those are the people we need more of, man. Like we don't have enough people like you, Tomato, that I know
Oh,
of personally. Maybe I'm just around the wrong crew. I mean, how big is the class of people? I guess um doing your major
um,
that you
I
know of.
I'm thinking like I'm trying to remember last semester where they had all of us together, a transition class they called it.
Okay.
So there's like, oh, that grouped like multiple things together though. I think in most of my classes that are very, have a lot to do with my major, there's like 20 to 30, I think. It's a small school, so
Yeah. I mean, for a small school, I guess that's not bad though. I was thinking like low, like tens or single digits. Honestly, I guess 20 is could be worse.
mhm.
Do you find yourself like applying any concepts into your content that are similar to what you're learning?
Not yet. I've been thinking about that though. I have been thinking about that
Yeah.
and thinking of how I could, I have all this like I have a lot of like not I have a lot of knowledge of like mathematical concepts and stuff. And I haven't really been able to like use it in content. I've been able to like help people in real life knowing that stuff occasionally,
Mm-hmm.
but that's about all I've got so far.
Talking to an electrical engineer, you might be the first, so I have to take advantage of this. Or future, right? And I'm fairly confident you'll get it. It doesn't seem like it's deterring you. Is that going to be like your main focus? Like, are you ever going to like drop YouTube to focus mainly on that? Will you always have YouTube? Like, how do you feel about it?
Okay. I was thinking about this question because I figured it would come up or something like this. How I view YouTube. I was thinking about how this so I've always like I've never okay, that never is not true, but because I've definitely had some moments of my life where I've put way too much focus on it and
Mm.
burn myself out.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely it's for the most part been just something I do for fun, and I think it's gonna continue that way. I don't want to drop it because I've actually at this point I've built up a really nice community. It's not that big, but like there's some really nice people in my streams and in my Discord server, and it's just really nice. And you know, everyone's really nice in stream. It's a fun time. I'm never gonna drop it.
That's good to hear.
Um, I might slow down occasionally, but I'm always going to be doing something, at least somewhat often on there.
Yeah, that's smart. I would have been disappointed if you said I'm just going to drop it all. It's good to always
Yeah,
have it in the back pocket.
I enjoy doing it. The vast majority of the time, I enjoy doing it.
That's good.
Enjoy streaming and making content.
Which you do. Like a genuine content creator making music. That's why I say like you're actually making
Yeah.
content. You're actually providing a service, a value. I think one of your songs getting into I'm gonna pull it up here, your TTW tunes. Um some of these you were talking about, like putting your feelings into it, like this is kind of how I'm feeling right now. Um walk me through that. Like is that when you feel like you're most immersed in the process of making music? Is when like
Um,
you feel like compelled to? Do you kind of just turn on the computer and just let me see what works? Like how do you go through that process?
yeah, that's interesting. I there's definitely sometimes where if I am there's definitely been times where I'll just if I'm feeling really bad, I will just, open up my music program and just kind of put whatever into it. And that kind of sort of becomes like I guess, something of a record of how I was feeling. And people like those. People have liked the music that has fallen into that category. People like those. So I guess I'm doing a good job.
Yeah.
More than once now, I have made something like that and I'll fall asleep, and the next morning it sounds like a completely different song. It's so weird when it
Hmm.
happens, but oh well. I've It's part of the process at this point.
Yeah.
But then there's other times where, um, especially before I made the dedicated music channel, I would try composing something, and I would have like a vague idea of what I wanted to do, but I would get to this point really early on in the song where I just had nothing else to go off of. I couldn't make something that sounded good, couldn't make an appealing melody or anything, and it just got binned. I've been there's a lot of tracker files on my computer that are like that are just a couple it's just like a 10-15 seconds long ideas that I've started and just had nothing else to go off of. I don't usually delete things. I just leave them on my computer unfinished. There was a lot more on my old computer that bricked itself. There was a lot more of those. Those are gone, unfortunately, but
Do you
still it doesn't happen as often. I've found it's gotten easier for me to complete ideas, but it definitely still happens.
do you feel like you're a little critical of yourself sometimes when it comes to that or any aspect?
Yes. And yeah, I'm very, very critical of myself. A lot of people tell me I'm very harsh on myself in general. So
Is that
it's
like
it's
because you have a standard you set for yourself personally?
I think it's more to do with like a negative self-image thing.
Hmm. What
I'm
do
not
you
gonna
mean
get
by
too
that?
far into that, but
Oh,
like
okay.
I
Okay.
feel like I need to I can. I'll here. It's like I need to I think of myself by default as like a not great person, or like um you know, a waste of energy or time or something like that. There's more, but I'm not going to give more examples.
I understand.
But so I think I have this idea most of the time that I need to like make up for that. So if I'm doing even small setbacks or mistakes feel a lot bigger than they are, and I'm very harsh on myself for little things a lot of the time, and that includes creative stuff like my music and stuff.
Do you feel like that's brought upon by yourself or was that like instilled? Because I'm gonna
I
be honest, I was like that too, but it was not because of myself.
I would argue it was instilled in me.
Yeah, same. Yeah, it's gonna take you some time to break out of that, man. I'm gonna be honest. But when you do,
I
it's
know it will.
yeah. But when you do, it'll be very freeing. It'll be a very freeing experience. But I know I don't know if it's any. I guess I don't know if it's any like assurance to you, but I do know what that feels like. Um, growing up in that type of environment where not a lot of people are very nice, right?
Right.
You might not have the best like reinforcement in your life. It's it's more so of you convincing yourself than you having to convince other people. Like I can tell you you're great and you're gifted and you're gonna go far, but now you have to like convince yourself of that too, though.
hmm
You know,
You have to really internalize that stuff, and it's hard.
it is. It is. Like I said, I can't lecture you on it. I can hopefully
Right.
give you some reassurance, but um, this is something that I didn't really understand until well past my late 20s. Because it's all just instilled in you. You didn't ask for it. You certainly didn't. No one asked for that. No one asked to be put down all the time. It kind of just unfortunately happens, and then you have to learn to that life is more different.
hmm
So, but I completely understand what you're saying. That's why when you said that, it sounded kind of similar to things I've been through. But it's good that I hope you have a way of like an outlet. Would you say that this is part of that? Like, would you say that
I
that the YouTube is an outlet?
I would say so. I think that would fall under that.
You
It's
have,
definitely it, it's nice to especially with the community that I have, you know, streaming can help a lot. I think as long as I don't go on for too long, it helps. It kind of helps. It makes me feel, you know, if people are having a good time when they all, and they pretty much always do. It's definitely, I would say that's part of it at least. And I can feel a little more myself
mm,
on there than I can, like, in my personal life.
yeah, yeah, I get that. You feel like that's part of we can get into it now, by the way, the creative maps process that you've been going through. Has that been another outlet for you to kind of, I guess, distract yourself of the,
Oh yes,
yeah,
distraction and escape definitely. Fall
yeah,
Guys in general actually has been my escape for a very long time
yeah,
because right when I started playing it, when I started playing it, I was already around like the lowest points of my life anyway, so like it was a very good distraction, and it's pretty much always served as that.
yeah,
And more so now than ever with the creative aspect,
yeah.
because there's no aspect of like hyper competitiveness or stupid unfair things. It's just it's really it's I just find it really nice. It's just I mean it's something I've thought about for a bit, and I know I have a friend who's like thought up a lot of ideas
Mm.
that maps that he would want in the game. So, and it's nice to be able to, like, to an extent make them. And like I find it particularly fun to make just I try to make maps that are like pleasant. I try to make sure they're
Mm.
not annoying. I like to make them like, traditional styled. Not always, but usually. And, I want to make them themed generally. And I like test every part a lot to make sure it isn't going to be annoying. It kind of errs on the side of perfectionism a little bit, I'll admit, but yeah, I do have a lot of fun, tweaking it and getting it right, making something that I can truly feel proud of. And I
And
do feel proud of like all of my maps except for maybe like the very first one.
no, it certainly shows, man. Like I stand by what I say. You make some of the best maps I've ever seen in terms of multiple factors. Because I feel like everyone's just making hard maps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone
Yeah,
just wants to make
definitely.
these impossible challenges, and I get it. It can be fun, but sometimes you just want to play a fun map, and you
Definitely.
nailed that. Like, like you said, to almost perfection. One of the biggest things that I said, I think in the same stream, and then we played your map, and you represented it perfectly. Was, you know, if you're gonna make two paths, make the more skilled path maybe more rewarding to the player, but the easier path maybe takes a little longer to get to the end, but it's not as brutal. And you
Right.
did that. I think I can't remember the names of your maps. I forgive me,
That
but there
one
was
was the
one.
silly one with have a whack at it was the name, my
Uh,
second one ever.
okay, and that was the one like in the end you had the rotating the spinners. It has the pink
Yeah.
spinner, and then on the left side it's like a little bit bigger, and on the right side it's a little smaller, but it kind of like rewards you if you bar jump to that one. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, in the middle section there's paths to the side that
Yeah.
you can bar skip. Or
Like,
if you take the side pass and don't bar skip, this wasn't quite designed, but it was if you it avoids the seesaw if people are trying to troll or something. I have
yes.
paths to avoid that anyway, I have like the way I designed that the platform after the seesaw very carefully to
Mm,
make sure that trolling could not be too effective.
mm,
But even if like something, but just in case, if you don't want to avoid this, if you want to avoid the seesaw entirely, you can go around the sides, and if you can't bar skip, you can still jump down to the ending platform and go to the checkpoint.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
and
It
at the very end, which is the one I'm the most proud of, there's all the spinners. I like to think the skip was, if you don't, if you, I mean, it's not super disguised, but like considering all the other spinners, it's like it's a little less obvious than the other ones because they're everywhere. But I wasn't gonna have a skip there at first, but I figured it needed something.
yeah,
And I just thought of this idea of make the finish line the max size so that it was accessible from multiple points and that way you could bar skip straight into it, which was super satisfying
yeah,
when I tweaked that and got it right. And but there's still an, but I make sure there's still another path. There's still another path. I do not like requiring stuff like bar skips. I don't want those to ever be required in my maps.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. That's what I mean. Like you make multiple approaches that again make the maps fun, but it seems to maybe not be as appreciated as it should. I feel
I
like
would
you're
say
you're
so.
you're thinking like a true developer, and you can see that because again, like you think of a map like Slime Climb, for example, right? It's not really the hardest map, but it's revered and fun for a lot of people. And I
Hmm.
think that's more important than just let me make some goofy, trolly, super hard map. I don't know. It just doesn't do anything for me. But your maps,
Just yeah.
yeah, you know what I mean? Your maps really give a fun factor. Like where I finished, I was like, that was satisfying. I don't want to jump off a window after playing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I feel like there's just some maps that just annoy me to no end that are creative maps, and I'm just like, this is how is this fun to anyone? Yeah, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I don't get it. Um,
The ones that are just there's so many like these, it's just axe jumps over a pit and that's the whole level.
like come on, like really, like who's that supposed to be for? But again, that's what I mean. Like the culture of Fall Guys or the community seems to be more geared towards the hard try hard maps. So I don't know. But personally, I think yeah, you make some of the best maps in terms of like fun factor and satisfaction that I've ever played so far, at least in my streams that I've played custom maps, which I think it's been like two or three. And
It's
yeah,
been like I think it's been 3 at this point.
yeah, yours are like easily my favorite. But I wasn't. But believe it or not, it didn't surprise me at the same time. Like when I first played your
I
map,
remember you saying I remember you saying you had faith in me. Thought I could make a good map.
yeah, yeah, just because I listen, I read chat. You know what I mean? I watch the things you say about the game. You're very analytical. You're very like you just I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like have you ever met like a sports analyst? You're like that, but for Fall Guys. Like like how things factor in, what works, like the way your brain works. So when I hear like your chat response, or when I read, I should say, your chat responses, and I see the way you talk about the game, I'm like, this guy knows what he's talking about. Like
Yeah.
he's not just saying stupid stuff. Like game sucks. It's all RNG. Like you understand the RNG. So
People
yeah,
saying things are all RNG annoy me to no end. I'll be entirely honest.
right. And what you're thinking is no, it's just variables, and you have to understand those variables.
Like I understand frustration with Hexagon, but I don't like people saying it's all RNG.
Yeah,
That's silly.
it
It's
is. It
just
is. It's an
and
RNG, but
I get what they're
it's
getting at
yeah. It
because it didn't used to be this way, but now that everyone knows what they're doing pretty much, it can feel kind of random where all the players fall because the players are unpredictable, and sometimes you just kind of lose. So it didn't used to be that way back in like season one,
Yeah.
where if you had decent strategy, you would win every time. Um, so, and speaking of which, definitely I would attribute my I mean I've always been very analytical minded, but I think that I know like what's fun. Definitely, I attribute that to having played the game for so long and through all
Yeah.
sorts of different stages where they've tweaked physics and added variations and changed stuff around, and it's so like it just playing it through all those different eras of the game and seeing like how the designs of levels change too. It just I feel like I got a really good idea of what was fun and what isn't.
Mm. That's something that I didn't even factor in. I was strictly going off of my impression of you. But that adds to the pie too. Yeah, you're saying like, hey, I've been playing this game, since you said like you said season 2, before free to play.
Yeah,
Remind me
back
again
in
what they call it again?
November.
Not it's not
Like
SS.
Legacy.
Legacy. Okay. So you've been playing since Legacy season 2. You've seen all these evolutions and you're like, I know what works and what doesn't.
Hmm.
I like that. That's a good way. That adds up too. That makes a lot of sense. And it showed. Like I said, the moment you sent me a map, I was like, I know it's gonna be good, and I had a strong confidence. I just didn't know I was gonna be that right. I was like, whoa, this guy really
Yeah.
needs to get hired. Like Mediatonic, you need to hire this guy. Like I'm telling you, because that's everything that you make reminds me of why I like Fall Guys. But then when I play these hard maps, I'm like what is this game? I don't know. It's good
Uh,
content, I guess. I guess if I was like a content creator, I mean, I guess I am, but if I just made Fall Guys
not
content,
that you're not like a lot of other like Fall Guys YouTubers.
yeah, like I'm not trying to, have the and the and then
Yeah, the Pog Champ thumbnails and
the hardest Fall Guy, like I'm not trying to do that. So maybe it's hard
very
for me to,
very loud and up and like
yeah.
they're not that yeah. There's a I had other words, but you get what I mean.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I get what you mean. Like, but I would certainly play like the funnest Fall Guys levels. I would play like the most creative or the most like consistent to what the game seems to be designed for. But I've only played since Free for All, so if anyone would know, it'd be you. And I think you get maybe what I'm putting down. I don't know.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. So definitely the best creative maps in the game, and I stand by that. That I've seen so far. Now I've been to one of your streams that was very interesting. They're starting to make characters now on the maps. That's fun.
You cut off right then.
Oh, I'm sorry. You got me now.
Yeah,
So
repeat that.
okay, I'll repeat it. I got you. I got you. I was saying one of the things that I've noticed when I've been in your streams that I noticed was that now people are starting to make like little characters in the map, like using the blocks to make like um it was like I don't remember the game that you said or what reference it was, but people just make like little characters out of the blocks. They got like little shoes and a shirt and a little head.
Yeah, I think
Um,
some. I think it. I don't remember either. Huh. But yeah, I mean I remember seeing those people making little art out of the blocks.
yeah, like
Yeah,
that I would have a lot more of an appreciation for, I think, than than that. So I'm looking forward to see what that does. As they give up more tools. Do you feel like I'll ask you two questions. Do you feel like if this creative mode never came out, you'd still be playing Fall Guys in the same light?
hmm, that's tough.
Like imagine a world where it never
That's
happened.
hmm. All right. Well, I would say keeping everything else the same. Let's assume they added like five more Unity made maps this season. And then the aside from those, the stuff they vaulted and unvaulted would be the same, which is not much. A depressing number of maps, the depressingly small number of maps were actually rotated in this season. It was like seven at most. that were swapped out, it was bad.
Yeah.
Like it's almost the same. So like I don't know because I remember back in Legacy Season 6, which was over 200 days long and was the first season not to introduce variations in the middle of it, which which was like almost my breaking point with the game. I almost quit back then. Um, so and that's when all the maps were still available. So I don't know. I then like the new maps would keep me entertained for a little bit longer, but it's just, the base game is still not that great. It's nice to play every once in a while if you're, out of ideas on a map I'm making, or, can't find good codes to play in a custom by yourself or whatever. So like it's not bad to play every once in a while, but like the base game by itself is just still not in a good state. Especially even and you know, even if, they somehow added 20 new levels without creative mode existing, like, they're definitely falling into a sort of quantity over quality trap this season.
Mm. Mm.
And the levels themselves, like I remember the first creator on playlist, most of them were all right, but like none like there was only one or two that were actually memorable at all,
Yeah.
and there were quite a few stinkers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the playlists after that only worse.
Yeah. Yeah, for some
So it's
reason that's a
just
shame that like despite the quantity, like that yeah, I can't remember one single map they made. Like maybe the one that has to do with like the train, but that's because like the finish line's like above you when you leave, so that's kind of cool, but
that was definitely the highlighted playlist too.
yeah, that was it though.
And I
And
know playlist one, I'm sorry about that.
it's okay.
Uh, playlist one had a map called Cube Corruption, which was really cool, honestly. It was really simple, but you can still get it in Solo Show. But like for whatever reason, it comes up so rarely. I
Mhm.
don't really get it, but like you almost never see it.
Right.
So like it's a shame because like it spams like Digitrek and stuff that's just like very mundane all the time. You never see that one. And it's so even with the one memorable one, it's you if you don't like almost all the playlists had like one that they clearly put all their aesthetic effort into. But even
Yeah.
then, they're not the most fun. And it's just yeah, it's none of the creator on playlists have been very good, I think.
Yeah.
Um I'm glad they haven't added any playlists other than the first one to solos because the rest are even worse.
Yeah.
I will say they seem to be getting better though. The little co-op rounds they have in the show selector now, and that which are going to be there for 3 more weeks because they're on summer break, summer vacation, I guess. That's the reason I think. Um, those are not bad. Those are those are okay, and they have a little with their trademark timeliness at the very end of June. They put out a Pride Month show with the new creative rounds. Those are actually really good. The rounds they made for that one actually really quality. Those are quality maps. Almost all of them. They are really fun. So I'm hoping this trend continues, but it's a shame that so far a lot of it's been kind of not great.
Yeah. I think you used the word perfectly, like not memorable is what I'm getting at. Because I can't think of many that are memorable off the top of my head that I've played create in the creative playlist. Or that people have made. Outside of maybe yours and Skulls, I think Tower of Hell. I can't think of many others that kind of like blew my mind. And that's no disrespect to them because I know there was a lot of great maps I played. But it's
Hmm.
something about like I don't know what it is. I don't know if they need to add more tools or more what do they call it? I guess the budget? Like add more budget or
Uh,
something because
budget
yeah,
and
there's like a
objects. Yeah.
clear design difference between like the created maps and the original maps. It's like
Hmm.
obvious. Like you could see it. Like, it looks plain, but it's not supposed to be plain unless you like add things to it, but it adds to the budget, so it limits like how creative you can be. That's why I'm so impressed with your
Right.
maps. It somehow still looks aesthetically pleasing while still being a decent level. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely focus on the aesthetics at least a little bit. I try
Yeah.
to make my maps. I have a similar philosophy with Mario Maker 2 levels, which I've played that game a lot and still
Okay.
do. But I have a similar philosophy with both games where I try to make it aesthetically pleasant. I don't focus too hard on decorations at the start
Mm-hmm.
because in Mario Maker it makes the level it almost always you see some levels with like lots of like vines all over the place, lots of weird ground patterns. And sometimes it's cool, but a lot of times it makes the level feel cluttered and hard
Mm-hmm.
to read.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple times in Fall Guys maps I see the same thing, and also just budget. You don't want to go too hard, you don't want to go too far at the start
Yeah.
with decorations. So I try to keep it very simple, just mix up the floor colors at least a little bit and space things well. Make sure just I just want to I still want it so it still at least feels like an actual round.
Yeah. 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 If you were to tell me Media Tonic made this, I believe it. So it's you nailed it down. I want them to give you more tools because I'm excited to see what you do with that.
Yeah. They gave us more tools in a recent update.
Yeah, what's up with that? What's going on with that? I didn't get to check it
Yeah,
out. I've been busy.
right. So a little while ago they put out an actual client update. They're doing a lot better than they did in SS3 with those actually updating the game, doing things.
Yeah.
They did
Yeah.
not do that in SS3, like almost at all.
Yeah.
So they gave us well, they let you earn fame from playing customs now, which is very nice.
Wait,
That's something that should
what?
have been in the game forever ago.
Wait.
Yeah,
You gotta hold on. Wait. Like just playing them or like
the
um
way they have it set up is
mm-hmm.
that in daily challenges, they'll have like a challenge like play custom shows once, three times, 10 times. Those aren't the exact numbers, but something along those lines, and you get fame as a reward for completing them. And those are daily, and they reset daily.
That's badass.
Yeah, that's something that should have been in the game forever ago. But
Right?
it's good that it's here now. I'm glad you at least get fame now because like that's the most harmless thing you could, if you were gonna reward
Yeah.
anything for customs, that's the most harmless thing you could give
Yeah,
because they're
because
playing the game
exactly.
and
You're
you
still
get yeah.
incentivizing them to play. It's just playing in a different way.
And in addition to that, um, they also put a Discover tab in the custom lobby screen where there's a huge list of creator rounds to browse through. For some reason, there's some Mediatonic ones in there, probably a mistake, but it's mostly maps created by the community. Some of them have already been in show selectors, some of them haven't. Um, I've played through almost all of them at least once. Um, there's some fun ones. There's quite a few L's in there too, but I mean, it's nice that they're giving us a bigger list. They're all handpicked still, which is a
Mm.
bit of a shame. But and despite that, they managed to let slip a level about the Titanic.
Oh
I'm
my.
sure it was made before everything, and
Yeah.
they picked these a while ago. I'm sure they keep a backlog that's on their website, but someone they didn't think to scan through the list one more time before actually pushing it to the game,
Yeah.
despite this being handpicked. They removed it shortly, but yeah, they.
Yeah.
But anyway, Mediatonic moment. Anyway, it's still nice that we get a little more to choose from, and I feel like once they get back from their summer vacation, it gives you more of a chance to get featured in some way. Assuming they rotate those out, I sure hope they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, but about the actual new objects, which is the actual new objects in the creative mode. So They added pushable boxes like the ones from Wall Guys.
Okay.
So and those are rather expensive. They're like 40 budget each. But
What?
yeah, it's a little nuts considering they don't animate at all. They just move.
Right.
I think it's just the sandbox physics aspect. Maybe that does something. I don't know. Because because unlike the ones in Wall Guys, they are supposed to rotate and stuff and flip in the air. If you put one near a boom blaster, it'll get blasted away in the air.
Hmm.
So so they do have like actual sandbox physics. So that might be it. But they have a lot of potential. I haven't messed with them too much yet. There was a level I was working on before the update, and I didn't finish it until the update had come out, and I just put them in for the fun of it in one section. It didn't
Okay.
really hurt the level. So, and there was another level about boom blasters, which are cheap, so it wasn't too bad. There's a lot of potential with them. I've seen some really neat puzzles involving them, and they've yeah, I think they could be really cool, and you can make stuff that isn't it doesn't have to be annoying like Wall Guys sometimes is,
Yeah.
but there already are a lot of Wall Guys 2s out there in the Blender Dome though. There's a lot of them out there already, guarantee you.
Yeah.
Uh, well, aside from that, they have what's called a bounce board, and it's essentially like it's like a two-sided trampoline almost, where when one player lands on one side, if there's an object or a player on the other side, they'll get launched up and vice versa.
Hmm.
So and you can also like throw an object onto one side, launch it up, and then it'll launch you. And speaking of which, throwing objects, there's an entirely new category of objects.
Mm.
And right now it only has a spawner like a blast ball spawner. It doesn't actually spawn blast balls. It's not an option yet. Probably won't be for a while, but it can spawn like various grabbable objects. So it can spawn basketballs, eggs, uh, boxes, and heavier boxes, which are useful for the bounce boards and also slow you down a lot.
Okay.
It's interesting. The eggs and basketballs don't have all that much use as far as what I can tell. But I mean, Mediatonic does like to throw things in for the memes, so
Yeah.
it's it's whatever. But the boxes and stuff, it is. I've seen some cool puzzles with those, and you can even stack them sometimes to jump off them. It's kind of
Mm.
annoying to do that. If you have, I'd say if a level makes you do more than two layers of boxes, it's an automatic L. but but it's still a lot of potential, but the things are rather expensive. There was one more thing I think, and I've forgotten what it was, but that's the majority of it. Wait, never mind. I think that was it. That I do know one more thing. They let you adjust the amount of players that can qualify from a round,
Hmm.
which it isn't super useful yet. Um, I'm hoping that they, eventually make create around playlists of our own levels of like player levels
Yes.
because they said they would do that on their website. Um, but or a feature I'm really hoping for that they let us create our own playlists of rounds and custom lobbies,
Yeah.
which is something that again should have been a feature since custom lobbies were introduced.
100%. Because then you can set what's this first round, second round, third, and subsequent, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. That would be so
If you
spicy.
could play those for yourselves or on streams and stuff, that would be awesome. I hope that becomes a feature. Now that creative is a thing, I think it's reasonable to expect that it will eventually.
Yeah.
Or at least I'm hoping there's a chance.
Yeah, I mean, with
And
everything that
once
they've done
those are
so far, I
available,
mean, they got my hopes up for anything at this point. They seem to want to fix, or not fix, but it seems like they want to give more features, but we'll have to see.
they want to add more things, yeah.
Yeah.
But if that were to become a feature or they were put in playlists, the qualified percentages would become a lot more useful.
Mm.
But if like it, it's not too bad if you want to play like a round in customs that has a small player count and it's intended to be like a final. You can set it to one winner, and
Ah,
can have everyone race to the end and not have to wait, for the time to run out almost certainly because people
yeah.
do that.
Right, right, right. You know, the
um,
finally give us that crown object.
I hope the crown grab I think is in the code. I think it's been like there's strings related to it in the game that have been leaked, I think. Don't
Okay.
quote me on that.
Gotcha, gotcha.
I like half remember this stuff and I don't actively seek it out.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
um I hope that becomes a feature eventually, but a one winner round is not bad either.
Yeah.
And you can also set it to all winners for co-op rounds
Mm,
because you can make cooperative experiences now in creative with
you
because
can.
that's part of what the push boxes and the object those grabbable objects were for. The bounce boards
Mm,
that require that you can have two players on. So you could have like a small player count round and have it to be all winners. So
yeah.
that people would work together on solving puzzles or possibly like multitasking, each player doing a different thing in a level within a time limit or something. There's a lot of potential for that. They really need to enable like co-op making or co-op testing or something
Mm-hmm.
because that's not a thing yet and it makes it really hard to like judge that stuff. I hope that happens eventually because co-op rounds will be hard to make and make really
Mm-hmm.
well until that's a thing because you can't the only way to test a co-op round is to publish it, which also means um you can't make a round that requires two players to beat it.
Mm.
I hope at some point like they have like maybe they'll allow like maybe a special like a co-op tag on the round like race, a co-op tag sort of
Yeah.
thing that would make it to where it's allowed to be impossible by from one player, but in customs and stuff if you played it with two or four or whatever, then it was beatable. So
Yeah.
that's the stuff I'd like to see for this to really be a fully fleshed out thing. But it's still cool that they've added this and the levels they've made featuring this do a good job of showing what's possible. So
Yeah.
it's still nice.
It is. I can imagine them doing something where like you're in a party of four and then you test the creative level and they just like jump in with you or something.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? I could see that.
Party based creative. That's excellent.
Yeah. That would be amazing. Because that's a good point. I didn't even think. I wonder if they even have a solution for something like that, or if they're just gonna leave it as is. Because yeah, that could be super useful. Having like four other people with you to help you test it out. That's huge.
Yeah.
Or should I say three? Right, including yourself, it'd be three others that'll help you kind of like make sure that it's a valid map.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Okay. Um, get after that. My next question for you, I was gonna ask you was how you felt about them taking away 360 diving. I didn't think they were gonna
Um
do it. Um, I don't know if you're too like into the competitive side of Fall Guys, but I am curious of your thoughts anyway.
I'm not too into the competitive side. I'm glad it's gone though. Or it's not gone, but like the playing field is way more level than it's ever been.
Yeah,
I do not just not gonna go too into it, but just from my background and stuff, the fact that, people with better, more expensive computers were the ones that had the advantage. I That did not sit well with me. Even though it's Fall Guys, it doesn't matter, but like that still didn't sit well with me at all.
yeah. That's
I only
why.
get 60 FPS on this thing, so I never have them. It's just so I'm glad the playing field's more level now.
Yeah, it's that's why I felt kind of indifferent. I feel so bad saying this because there's so many good speedrunners in our community, and I know they're talented. Like just because it's removed does not mean that they're less talented. Because I'm not trying to demean them, but I'm good. Let's be honest, Tomato. Like knowing what we know is a fact that the only reason why you're going that fast is because of your hardware. It's just a little hard to take it seriously. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly,
Like, no
exactly.
offense. No offense. I know they're talented. They are. But Fall Guys speedrunning to me was never really like, wow. Like, I guess it's wow if you do that too and you have the hardware to do that, you can appreciate it. But if you're like a PS5 player and you're watching that and you know you can't do that, that it's not motivating. It's, you know what I mean? It's,
It's demoralizing.
yeah, like there's nothing about that that inspires console players, you know? Like
Hmm.
if I'm watching Street Fighter 6 on PC, I know I can do the same thing on PS5. So I'll take that a little more competitively serious. Now, obviously, the frame differences are there, but I mean, in Fall Guys, it was just so wide, the gap, you
Uh-huh.
know?
Yeah.
So I always struggle with it, man. I'm not gonna lie. I struggle taking it too serious because I'm just like, okay, good for you, but like, what are we talking? Like, I think even who was it that mentioned? I think it was Centric again. He mentioned that like the Nintendo Fall Guys player base is massive. So screw them. You know what I mean? They had to do that. And I'm glad they did. I'm personally glad they did.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. It's
I know
just,
the Switch version is like, rather it's poorly made,
yeah.
but like, it's still portable Fall Guys, and that means a lot to a lot of people.
Yes. It does. It does. I just, yeah, it just didn't sit well with me personally. And that's why for so long I didn't play Lily Leapers. Now I don't mind, but I guess the stigma of it is still there. So people really don't like it still, but I'm like, it's actually
I'm
not that bad anymore.
Yeah, I'm still hesitant to play it on streams and stuff, but I don't mind too much now because the playing field's a lot more level.
Yeah, yeah. Again, you got people with, lower hardware can potentially do, it's still there, but it's like severely nerfed. So at least there's like
Hmm.
a semblance of hope, man. I mean,
Yeah,
dang, you play that on a PS4 and you see that, you're like, I can't do that crap.
you can still compete.
Yeah, like holy crap. So just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that, see what you felt about it from a technical aspect. I think it was the smartest decision they could make, and it seems to be the consensus outside of obviously the speedrunning community is yes.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
was a good thing they did that.
yeah, speedrunners are pissed, but I mean, look, you was kind of bullshitting. Like
Yeah,
you're kind of bullshitting a little bit. Let's be real, like
yeah,
we're not talking about like a Super Mario 64 speedrun glitch where you're like jumping and shooting fireballs so you move faster. It's like inherently just BS.
yeah, yeah, it's definitely does not compare to something like that at all.
No, no, it's not. It's not cool. You just, yeah. But anyway, we'll move on from that. But I just wanted to get your thoughts. Um, you plan on continuing Fall Guys, man? Do you want to expand on the Lemmings? Do you kind of just want to play it by ear? Do you not see yourself dropping Fall Guys? Where do you stand with it?
Currently, I don't see myself dropping Fall Guys, uh, entirely because of creative,
Yeah.
and like I don't much care for you know, I hate playing solo show. It's just not fun anymore with
Right?
SBMM.
Right?
The
Yeah.
vi like I play like, shows like gift like the accidental Big Eaters tour in SS2 or gift grab last
Yeah.
season or the Rainbow Rally show this season, and there's
Yeah.
no SBMM. The vibe is just completely different.
Yeah.
Like everything just feels so different, and it's more fun. It's a better vibe. Not because I want to win. It's just, you see a wider range of player personalities and stuff.
Yeah.
It's in a way like more difficult to read people, and it's just I don't know. It just makes it more fun for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's not even about winning. It's just it feels more chill, and it's just yeah. I just think it's a better time.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Is Fall Guys is not a competitive game. It just I think we made it that way. My fault included because I'm the one hosting a tournament
Hmm.
this Friday,
Yeah.
so I'm not helping, but it unintentionally is competitive, but I don't think that was the point.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? I don't know if you agree. It just feels like a every time
I
I played
definitely
it
agree.
just feels like a party game. That
That's all
you
it was ever meant to be.
right,
Back in the
right.
legacy seasons, they fully embodied that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
now, definitely since free for all, it's kind of lost its identity.
Mm,
It's kind of, I feel like the game is like, you know, struggling to remember what it wants to be.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's
There's a lot of conflicting decisions, I think, from the devs. And yeah, it's,
I guess it just depends on your player group and your community because like you said, you're more on the creating map side, like trying to play chill games. I'm the same way, dude. Like I don't play solo. I'll play the you know how when you go to the menu there's like solo, duo, right? And then you go down, you drew the drop down menu and there's those gold thumbnails of like the creative maps. I play those, man.
right.
I'll just hop
Yeah.
in, have fun with those, check them out, get my 5 shards, and then I turn the game off. Like
Yeah.
I'm not looking to be competitive, but I understand there's a community there for it. So
Sadly,
yeah,
they've mucked up that system since it's not 5 shard rounds anymore. The way they have it now they feature player made rounds.
mm,
They'll have maps tagged hard, which are, Kaizo type levels. Some of them
yeah,
are like fun-ish, but like, yeah, I just wasn't really a fan. I
yeah,
was never a fan of those. So those will give you one crown, they're single winner. They limit it to 4 players now, not like a 4 player party in like a 40-20 player game. 4 player lobbies. It's really weird, which also means like in both those and also there's others that are tagged special that have 20 shard rewards where
mm,
everyone can win.
mm.
It, yeah, you just made it really easy for Sweats to make parties of 4 and farm crowns.
Oh wow!
Yeah, the system is broken.
I didn't even think of
It's
that.
really dumb. Yeah.
Hmm.
Like, Yeet Golf. That course was so fun. It should not have given 20 shards. It was one round.
Mm.
I don't understand it. It's an everyone win show and you give 20 shards.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a
Everyone
lot.
wins one round.
That's goofy.
It's yeah, very goofy. It's still mostly not competitive unless you get unlucky and you get like a party
Yeah,
of 3 sweats.
yeah,
But it's still fun to play those ones, and the co-op rounds are way better for that
yeah,
stuff. They still give 20 shards, but it's a little more understandable because you're all working together and there's a chance you time out as a team.
right.
So
Yeah, it seems like they
so that's a little
devalued
better,
the weight of what crowns mean, like multiple times now.
definitely.
Like it's almost just like okay, you're a gold knight. Well, so is everyone else during that event where there was like a glitch, right? Happened for like a
Uh-huh.
week.
Like,
Like
and that's happened during the legacy seasons too, not in the same way. That was like the worst incarnation of it by far.
yeah,
And these creative round shows just being the way they are indefinitely is like pretty bad. I have almost never really thought about crowns like at all ever since they stopped being currency. So
yeah, yeah. I was gonna talk to you about that too. Like, so it used to be, you you needed X amount of crowns in order to buy a cosmetic.
yeah,
That's crazy, man.
and
I'm gonna be real, bro. Like that sucks that they took that off. That's so. Yeah, that's such a like. How do you feel about that? That sounds like such a L to me that they took
let
that
me
off.
tell you, there's even more to that system that I like. That they still had crowns and kudos both,
Hmm.
where kudos you used to get kudos just by playing the game and not even like completing challenges. You would just get it alongside the fame when you left the game. You would get like even if you got eliminated round one, you would get your 30 fame and 15 kudos or however many it was. Just for playing
Mm.
the game, you would get kudos. And if you absolutely needed more kudos, there were options in the shop. You could buy kudos. You could buy kudos with real money. That was always an option. But I mean, you can't do it anymore because showbooks are all the rage now. But
Yeah.
um, you could buy kudos if you wanted to, and kudos could buy like pretty decent items. Usually, what they do, you notice a lot of costumes have like at least two variants that are very similar but have different colors or something like that.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, if it wasn't like one in the battle pass and one in the shop, there would be two in the shop, and one would be for kudos and one would be for crowns. And it would be like the slightly cooler looking one, whatever that would mean. And it was just really nice. And I really liked this that you could buy as many kudos as you wanted if you really wanted to. Crowns you could only get by being good at the game, or at least playing the game enough to get the free ones in the season pass.
Yeah. And then you would use those to, I'm assuming, get cosmetics that you couldn't get with kudos. Is that fair?
Yes, yeah. You would use
Yeah.
those. They had like two separate currencies. I just love that system. It was really well thought out, I thought.
Yeah, that is, man.
But it only works in a game that's paid to play. So
Yeah. Because I don't know. I don't know what's the answer. Because I feel like with the amount of money that they probably made in revenue in this game since they went to the Showbuck system, it probably is the only reason why we even have what we have now. Maybe.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Because what's the incent? You need to incentivize people to pay money. Like, it sounds like there was really no incentive. Like, it was very customer friendly, obviously, because you could just grind kudos and crowns. But with this new system, it incentivizes you to pay up cash, which they need to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like which you need to run the servers and potentially, pay a dev team to create these new features. So that's where I'm kind of at with this. I don't know because that system sounds amazing, but maybe
Yeah.
it just wasn't financially sustainable.
Yeah. And yeah, definitely once they went free to play, it definitely was not financially sustainable. There
Yeah.
wasn't enough of a need to buy kudos
Right.
at
Right.
any point in the game. You could, but there was never, I don't think most players did.
Yeah.
Most they there were paid DLC cosmetics every season, so that got them some money, but
Yeah.
it
It's
just
just not the
wasn't enough
same.
because you can buy constant showbucks. You can pay a lot of money for showbucks at a very rapid rate. So,
Yeah.
and also I must say, us legacy players, their solution of converting your crowns to kudos, it just doesn't really work. It didn't work like at all. Like they could have at least and they gave you like the first SS1 pass for free, and if you were smart with your showbucks, you wouldn't ever need to pay for them to get the season pass again.
Yeah.
So and I was not smart.
Yeah. That's
That's
what I
that's
mean.
that's that's on me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
That's
didn't really
yeah.
think, but
Yeah, but that's how they get you, though. That's how they get
mhm,
you. That's how they get their extra cash, man. How else are they going to get it?
yeah. So after the transition from crowns to kudos, I had 200,000 kudos, if I'm remembering how many digits are in the number correctly.
Yeah,
Because I
yeah,
had like 60 something crowns. I wish I'd played season six a little bit more and bought as many cosmetics as I could because now I can't buy anything. I can't
yeah,
buy any of the cosmetics I could with my 60 something crowns. I could have bought like 12 different crowns. I
yeah.
because there would be like stuff for 5 crowns, really cool costumes. I could have bought like 12 different things, and now
Dang.
I can't buy anything.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh
yeah.
and the kudos items, I mean, I like that they exist. I like that there are minimal options available for cosmetics that show off more of your bean's pattern and stuff. I do like that, and I want there to be more of those, so I'm glad they exist. I just don't like the way they're handled. And there's not enough of them. I had so many kudos to burn. Like, by the end of SS3, the game had literally run out of kudos items to give me.
You got them all,
There was
yeah.
literally no more that it could give me.
That's
Like
funny.
except for nameplates and banners and stuff that I'm only going to buy if they're any good. But like I
Yeah.
picked up all the kudos items, and they introduced a few more this season. I thought I'd have enough to keep me going. Within just a couple weeks, I'd run out of the season 4 kudos items too.
Yeah.
So like I don't even have anything to spend them on now, and I still have so many that they're meaningless. It's
Yeah.
just it's whack.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I don't know. I feel like my gut instinct. I guess in a perfect world, my gut instinct would say I'd rather have the legacy system.
Hmm.
Just, I guess I'm just clouded and jaded by reality, knowing that these companies are just looking to make money. But I feel like in
Hmm.
the perfect world, if we could have everything and still have the legacy system and still have creative, like that would probably be peak Fall Guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like I'd actually respect people who have certain cosmetics with their crowns. Now it's just like,
Hmm.
oh, good for you. You've got Golden Witch. I mean, everyone does now. Not
Yeah.
myself, but it feels like everyone's already like way past what they should be. And it's just hard
Yeah,
to take it.
definitely.
Yeah, it just doesn't hold weight anymore. So I don't know. I guess, hindsight's 2020, but yeah. Knowing the way companies work, they're just gonna do what they gotta do. They're gonna make money the way they make money. In the way that works, you know what I mean? I'm sure you're familiar with Fortnite. I mean that formula works, whether we like it or
Hmm.
not. Every season, people buying that dang battle pass. So
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's partly our faults too, but I get it. I get it. Um, I don't know what they're gonna do here down the line. But if they got a spicy battle pass, I mean, hey, it'll work for me too. I don't play it enough to justify buying it, but I totally get it. It's just
Yeah, definitely.
it's just what works. I'm glad that you enlightened me on that. For better or worse, maybe I'm a little disgruntled now, but
Yeah.
but there's plenty of games out there. But there's not many like Fall Guys that hit the mainstream audience.
Yeah.
So everybody keeps bringing up Stumble Guys, and I just think it's cringe. I'm
Yeah.
like, I
That all the
don't.
ripoffs are cringe. They
It's
feel soulless. It's not.
right, right.
Yeah,
Like
they're not for me.
I can't. Like I played it. I tried it. I gave it a fair shake because everyone keeps telling me about it. It just feels like you're on ice the whole time. I can't stand it. I can't stand it.
Oh yeah, I've not tried any of them yet, but I guarantee none of them get the controls anywhere close to right or
No,
physics.
no,
Definitely not.
no, no. I'm interested in what you would think. Let's say it's 20. Let's say 2027, 2028. Fall Guys 2. What would you expect? Would you expect what we said, like legacy system, but the same features such as creative? You expect the same thing? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, the only thing I expect, I guess, to like kind of juice your thoughts. I'm expecting probably either an engine update or Fall Guys 2, but it's just gonna be the exact same thing, just with an updated, you know, code of paint. To be honest with you, if they even do that, I'm curious
I
what you think.
I think, the fact that they went free for all pretty much kills any chance of that happening at all. I'll
Hmm.
be entirely real.
Good
But
point.
if it were to happen, um, well, given that they're under Epic Games now, they'd probably start with Unreal Engine instead
Yeah.
if they were to do that. And that would work a lot better. I've had some people who've had some experience with different engines say that like Unity might be part of the problem with
Yeah.
the slowness of Mediatonic. I mean, their code is spaghetti code too. I've had people look into it. They've leaked their own source code like 3 different times now. So
Because of course they did.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is spaghetti code in there. So it just makes it so that in Unity, like it's part of the reason they've always been so slow.
Yeah.
Because once they add that code, it's hard to go back and change it and optimize it once it's already in place. Because you
Yeah.
got more things that depend on it. So never ending spiral pretty much. And you just have to slap bug fixes on top of the code that is still buggy at its core.
Yeah.
And then something else breaks the bug fix.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just so they probably like, if they were to do that, they would have like a much better system in place. They would because like there was a lot of things they did at this. There was a lot of things Mediatonic did at the start that seemed okay at first, but became problematic later on because the game spiraled into something they never could have imagined.
Yeah.
Quickly after it came out, Sony kind of gave them a huge boost of popularity by putting it for free on PS Plus
Yeah, that was
for PS
huge.
Plus subscribers. That's like a lot of what boosted the game to its success. It it was just going to be an indie like party game. They didn't really think about a lot of quality of life features. They just wanted to make the game,
Yeah.
and they didn't really think about evolving it that much over time either. They had they had like they didn't expect to have to like make it or like do things as fast because they had a season 2 in place. They had planned on it for a bit, but they just didn't really anticipate the speed they would need to keep up.
Yeah.
So all the systems they put in place in Legacy Season 1 really start to hurt over time, and they got to build stuff on top of that and hope it doesn't break
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
So there's lots of features that have been really slow to add because they weren't thinking about that when they made the base game,
Yeah. What?
because they didn't think the base game would get this far,
No. No.
which is fair. It's just a shame. It's just kind of an unfortunate situation.
Yeah, because the potential is just so vast. Like I was talking to
Yeah,
OPJ, especially the Unreal Engine update, and how he thinks the next boom for Rocket League will be when and if, right, they update the engine for Rocket League. And I was thinking the same thing. Like, could you imagine like people making like single player maps using the because when Fall Guys, to me, I don't know if you would disagree or not, but like to me, when Fall Guys works, it feels good to play. It feels good to play. So I could imagine,
absolutely.
you know what I mean? I could imagine because they teased a little bit of like different power ups they were playing with and like different types of features. Like I could love to see like a co-op campaign missions or something. Like a little browser, kind of like what Fortnite has, where you're just browsing through and playing like little story missions that people make. Like there's some serious potential with this game that I hope they capture sooner than later, but it takes time, money, resources, and that's just not the world we live in, I guess.
Yeah,
You know? We'll see. Maybe they wake up and realize that, because I'm sure you could imagine as well, like, how badass that would be, you know what I mean? Making, like, just little puzzle maps or little fun maps you and a couple friends can hop in and just try out together. And it's like a little
yeah,
campaign mission. You know what I mean?
yeah, definitely.
Like, that.
It's a little easier to do that to an extent now with the recent update, but still far off from like an ideal experience.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's what I mean. More like a fully fledged experience, not just like, oh yeah, we're jumping in and
Definitely.
then like a whole thing, almost like Little Big Planet kind of thing, like where you can try multiple different types of like mission styles and types. But I guess we're daydreaming at this point. We'll see what they decide to do. Maybe they don't, like you said, they don't know what to do with the damn game. You know?
Yeah, that experimental stuff they showed in the season 4 announcement was whack,
Mm,
and some of it doesn't seem like Fall Guys to me. That could just be me, but it was whack, and it feels like it felt a little weird how much they're focusing on shiny new things that might not even happen, rather
mm,
than making their game work better.
yeah, yeah. It's like they're following the shadow of something. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Well, it's like what you were alluding to earlier. It's like lost identity. They
Hmm.
don't really know what it is anymore. Instead of it just being a fun little party game. Because yeah, that's how I look at it. If Mario Party can do it, why can't they?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I see what you mean. That's a good point. That's a good way to look at it. Because you don't want to be looking up at the sky too much, because then you start to get a little crazy in your own thoughts.
yeah,
It excites me, but I guess now that obviously in retrospect, analyzing what I just said, like there's so many games that do it better. that are already platformers, you know?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I guess focusing on that multiplayer aspect, but still keeping it a party ass game is more important. But like you said, yeah, we'll have to see. How long do you think this will last? Because my prediction is like damn near December. Like we're gonna be dealing
Uh,
with this season.
well, everything seemed to sort of indicate that there would be three fame passes, I feel like, but that could very well not be true. I'm I'm not gonna mm, I think it would be the worst case about the same length as SS3 because it was in the middle of SS3 when they said the seasons are gonna be getting longer. And SS3 was longer than they originally intended anyway. So
Mm,
I don't think it's going to be like insane, but it's not going to be ideal.
yeah,
So probably, there could it'll so probably not December, but a good few more months.
yeah. Do you feel like this, even with the creative maps, the what seems to be fairly frequent updates, do you feel like that's still not enough to garnish like a new like Fall Guys boom? Do you feel like it'll kind of just eventually get dry despite all the new features? What do you feel? What do you think about that?
Hmm. Well, creative. Um, it's I think creative has attracted or will attract a few new players. There'll be a slight spike in new players for creative, I think, because that's exciting.
Yeah,
But and people who were about to leave the game like I was, it's kept us hanging on. It's at least something to do within the game, and it's still good old Fall Guys physics.
yeah,
It still feels like it's still Fall Guys. So, but I like it needs. I think the base game is still not in a good state, and like they can't leave that hanging for too long.
unfortunately.
They probably will, but like, ideally it should be fixed pretty soon. Sooner rather than later. They
Yeah,
should focus on making the base game experience better and closer to how it was.
yeah. Are you feel fearful at all for the future of Fall Guys?
With those experimental features, like they didn't seem that bad, the ones they mentioned, but like, if they're experimenting that much, they could easily implement something that just ruins the game.
Mm,
If they're gonna go that far out, like the chances of them just ruining the game experience are not that low.
mm. You mean in
So,
terms of like you feeling its identity, or you mean like it'll kill the game for people type of deal?
more like just, I guess, just like losing its identity and like losing all the fun, I
Right,
guess.
right. Because then at that point,
'Cause,
like you said, I didn't even think of it that way because I'm too busy like wrapping up in my own dreams. Like I guess, like you said, like it'll just be it becomes something that isn't Fall Guys. It's just
uh-huh.
something else. It's like you might as well make like
Mm,
a expansion or like a Fall Guys 2 with just campaign missions or something, and then
and
attach
I
a
could easily
multiplayer.
see, yeah, I
Yeah.
could I could easily see, them change. I could easily see them, like, if they're going to be experimenting, they could like change how the shows even work, and um like, you know I guess the way I see it is the change what seemed like a simple change, taking solo show from 60 to 40 players, made it 10 times worse.
Yeah.
It is 10 times less fun to play just by cutting the player count down to two-thirds its size.
Yeah.
Everything just feels so much more sweaty. It
Yeah.
made it so much worse. And if a change, that's seemingly simple, made had that big of an impact, you know, there's things that like I'm trying to imagine but can't even think of that they might do to the shows that could just ruin it completely.
Yeah. Not to, because you work so hard on it, so I want to be careful with my words here. But if something were to happen like that, so that drifts you away from the game, um, like where do you see yourself going? Besides Lemmings, of course, because I know that's not going anywhere. But
Right. And just a brief, I do want to briefly mention that I do want to keep my channel at least a little bit varied. I know that's not the
mm,
best way to grow, but like I still have a nice community, and that's really what matters most to me.
same.
About Yeah, the nice community I have. I don't need it to grow all that much. I don't need to grow that quickly. That's not important to me. It's just the fact that I have the community I have is nice enough already. And people like the Fall Guy streams. People like the Lemming streams. It's not the same set of people, but there's some overlap. And people, there's at least some people out there that watch me for me and not just the games I play, which is especially nice. So
Yeah, that feels great, doesn't it?
yeah,
Yeah, I can't even begin to explain to you how blessed I feel. Like honestly, it's yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I think it was yeah, yesterday was Sunday, right? My days are getting blurry now, but I think for like 40, almost 50 minutes, man, we were just hanging out talking. I don't think I've ever done that in what is over 160 live streams. Like not including the members ones. That was the first time in a long time we were like sitting and talking and having fun, and I realized like, yeah, what you're saying right now is 100% true. And you're the first person to say that, which is interesting.
the first person to say it on this podcast thing.
Yeah. Outside of
Wow.
maybe I think V-Tice and Cameron Gaming, they had their own ways of saying it, but you said it like directly, like, look, I'm not worried about all that. I just want to have my community. I like that you
Yeah, I
said
want to
that.
have my community and have videos, make videos and streams that at least some people out there will get some enjoyment out of.
Yeah.
That's what matters most to me.
I can respect that. Oh. Yeah, because I feel like every I've talked to both sides. I've talked to people. I've talked to Cameron who just straight up just doesn't care. He's just like, look, man, I'm here. That's kind of where he's at, you know. But not as a bad thing, because he has this kid coming on. Like it's completely understandable. I think his community understands that.
Yeah.
And then you have the bigger heads in the community who kind of all they're talking about is growth analytics and not really speaking on the community. So yeah, it's refreshing to hear you say that. Very reassuring. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I've definitely thought about growth before, like well before, when
Right.
it was unreasonable for me to even expect growth.
Yeah.
I've had my moments, but like definitely where I've been for a while now. I Yeah, I've switched my value to this. I don't pay too much attention to analytics and stuff. Like sometimes I check on YouTube Studio occasionally just to see how things are doing. It's nice to get a sense of that, but I don't usually use it to influence my decisions. I kind of just
Mm,
want to see like a little bit if things are but like as long as some of my videos are getting views and live streams have people in them, that's enough for me. The music channel, I kind of wish the videos reached a little more people. That kind of sucks a little bit. I actually pay more attention to the YouTube studio on that channel than my main one at this point.
yeah. Yeah. Because you
Yeah.
actually do want to get the music out there. I mean, it's getting views, bro. Like, don't get it twisted. Like,
Oh yeah, some of them are getting views. Just that it's more like it's more like there's a couple that I'm proud of that aren't getting views,
mm,
and it kind of but that you should expect that to happen. Stuff you're proud of not getting views every so often,
yeah.
and stuff you threw together getting a ton of views.
Yeah. I was talking to somebody about that on Twitter. He was so upset because he spent like 3 days editing a video. It got like 20 views. The guy has like almost 3K subs, mind you.
Oh my
And yeah, he
goodness.
was he was so upset. And he was like, I'm really reconsidering the way I edit. I was like, YouTube's a weird place, man. Like,
I think I would get upset by that because that's a very extreme case.
yeah, yeah. I was trying
Because,
to
you know,
I
that
was,
means not even a lot of your community is watching the video, and that's a bit scary. That's a
yeah,
bit worrying.
yeah. He was like a Call of Duty guy, and he randomly uploaded like only up. He didn't really give like
Hmm.
a forewarning of it. He kind of just threw it out there. I
Okay.
tried to reassure him as much as I could, but it really seems like it was kind of a blow to him. But yeah, but to your point is what I'm getting at, like, and myself included, like I got videos I did not put effort into that just for some reason are doing well for my standards, at least. To me, anything past like 100 views is crazy, but that's just me, you know. So I hear what you're saying though, yeah. It seems to happen a lot, and he agreed. I told him, I was like, look, man, YouTube's a weird place. Like, you'll have videos with zero editing. It's literally just a clip and it goes viral. But then you've got people who genuinely create, such as yourself. Again, not to like add fuel to the fire, but you know, and it sucks that you're putting in all that hard work and it doesn't really work. But it's better to do it than not do it, is what I'm thinking. I don't know what you think, but
Definitely.
you know, you have you thought of like making your tracks into shorts at all? Because you
No.
have the ability to do that.
I mean, I guess I could, but like I don't really know what I would do. I guess I could like make samples of them. I don't know. I don't
Right.
really know how well that would even work for music. But
Huh.
I do know shorts go off because YouTube just spams them. I
Yeah,
put that
that's their
6 second
new.
clip.
Yeah,
That's
that's their new forefront. They love people that bow shorts. So I
well,
slowed down a
like some
lot
of my
with that.
shorts. Yeah.
No, I've been just busy, but
A couple of
dude.
my shorts didn't go anywhere.
Mhm.
Sorry. But there's, you know, the one I posted most lately that was the stupid Fall Guys clip of ragdolling and Exagrav. That got nearly 1,000 views instantly.
Yeah, yeah,
It was so like, you know, I wasn't like upset by it. It was just whack.
yeah. You're just like really, dude.
Like
I
I did
was.
edit it and I thought it was funny, but like not that funny.
Yeah, that's how it works, man. Dude, I was at this it's at a facility. It was a childcare center, you know? It's close to a 'cause I was helping out someone there, a close friend of the family, but I go in the childcare center, man, and all the kids were on shorts, dude. They're like little like like short farms.
That's worrying.
I know, I know. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. Like literally like this, like, oh well, I'm using my phone today, but you know, just imagine like, you know, I have a phone in my hand, right? And all of them were like this, just like that. Double tapping the like and then going like that. And these were like I think 7 to 11 years old.
Yikes.
Yeah.
I've actually had a lot of thoughts about this, about
Please
the
share.
format of TikTok, because that's where this started mainly. And now everyone else is copying this format in some way, in one way or another, it feels like. And it's just the format of TikTok, it's people use it in ways that don't fit the medium at all. Like anyone anyone who tries to educate people, spread social awareness, anything else like that through a TikTok only makes themselves look like a fool every time without fail. I'm not on TikTok, but sometimes I get like, you know, screen recordings or downloads of it like in my Instagram Explore page every once in a while. My personal one.
Mm-hmm.
Don't follow me. It's my personal one. But like
Noted.
I'll see that and it's just I'll see one of those and it's just like, you know, no one's going to listen to this that doesn't already agree with you. I just the format, that's the way you're presenting it.
Mm,
No one is going to take you seriously.
that's
And
interesting.
people try relentlessly, and people who don't take them seriously, they just block them, and it just, you know, fortifies the echo chamber because the internet
Mm,
is so uh it's just so it's so like where it's very with the tribalism is such a big problem on the internet and
yeah.
it's only getting worse and TikTok is. to an extent exacerbating that, I would say.
Yeah.
Or more like it's users, because like I just don't understand why you would even try. It's just, but now that it's the big thing and everyone's copying the format, it's almost like you have to. And that's why I don't like focus on shorts at all. I don't want to. I'm like the format, and it's designed to be addictive too. All these things, and I would argue they're preying on little kids who shouldn't be on the internet in the first place, because that's where a lot of the views come from. Little kids on
Yeah.
phones.
Yeah,
They should,
unfortunately.
and like,
As it's an anecdotal story, but seeing it was different than knowing it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
It hits different.
absolutely.
I don't know if you've seen it, but when you see it, you won't forget it, dude. Like it
I've
was
seen it in my
almost
brother.
yeah, it was almost like he was like a I don't know, man. It was like 1984-esque. I don't know how else to explain it. It was
Yeah,
just
that's
it just hits different watching it like a machine, dude. Like just going back and I was just like is that what I look like? Because I'm gonna be honest, man. Like I use it on like a break at work. Like I can probably pull up the amount of minutes I've been on TikTok. It's gotta be less than 5 minutes. Like maybe a week. Because I mainly post on there.
right.
But I guess I just have a level of self control. If I was a kid, I wouldn't though. I know I wouldn't. If I was a kid, I know I would be on TikTok like a mad lad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why my parents did not get me a phone or a Google account until I was 13, which is and I would argue that is maybe honestly a little bit too young anyway to be on the
Right.
internet.
Right.
But like you're not going to stop millions of kids and their parents from doing that, so it is what
No.
it is. But you know that that was one of the best things they've done for me in this day and age, I would say, because like wow, I just yeah, that was very, very smart of them. We couldn't keep my brother off of it for certain circumstances I won't be getting into.
I
Like
understand.
he ended up needing it,
Right.
or like we had to get him. You know, he would end up getting sucked into YouTube already, and
Yeah.
he he's kind of addicted to technology now, and he's only 11. So
Yeah.
like I see it in him too, shorts and stuff. It's just because and that's what and like everyone copying the TikTok formula, they know that's what they're doing. They know how they're getting how they're getting this formula has format is getting so popular, and they don't
Yeah.
care.
That's where I don't
It's
know. That's where the argument comes in. Like, I guess like what do you do? Like, who do you blame? I don't know. I don't know the correct answer, but I know it's a mixture of both because I'm sure you as well as I, if we had a kid who was on TikTok all day, you wouldn't tolerate that. I wouldn't tolerate
no,
that.
I would be worried.
Yeah. So like I'd obviously want my kid to be more along the lines of how I am, where I watch a couple and then I just get off. Like it doesn't hold me as hard as it did. Now, my wife, believe it or not, she deleted TikTok. She felt like it got a hold of her. Like she couldn't put it
Good for
down.
her. Good
Yeah.
for her.
Yeah. She's
When you
completely
can step
like,
away from something like that, that's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah. And I would see it too. Like I didn't give her too much crap because it wasn't interfering with like her personal life. But I would see it and it was of her own, I guess, it was her own will where she said, "Hey, look, like this is kind of like I'm getting a little addicted to it, so I got to put it down," you know. So, yeah, I don't know if I should blame the companies or the parents because like I can put it down, no problem, but I can understand why some people don't. I can get it because the time flies, man. Like I'll be
Yeah.
on there and I'm like, holy crap! Like I'm about to like I'm supposed to like be done my lunch break already. It's getting late. Like, oh crap, you know? I'm gonna get in trouble.
Yeah.
So I can totally get it. I don't know. I don't know what's the right answer. But I do know that you're 100% right and the formula 100% hooks you. That's not even a debate. It's not even like it's not even like a it's just not a
Not
debate.
even a question.
It's not even a question. Yeah, like of course they want to hook you on. That's why they do it that way. And then it incentivizes creators to do it and perpetuate a system that they may not even know is harmful, you know? And I'm guilty of it too. Like, I don't know. I don't know how to navigate it properly, to be honest with you. Because the turnover rate's bad anyway. I seen it. You know, I was watching this streamer today and he was like posting TikToks literally while he's streaming, you know? And I noticed the same people that would come in, they wouldn't even like care about his stream. They were just like, they'll stop in, say hi, and then just leave. So I don't
That's
know.
so wow.
I don't know what's the secret sauce here, man. I don't know if it makes a difference or it doesn't. Would it have been better had he had not done anything at all? I don't know. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot of questions, man. I don't know. I'm not trying to make you answer all of them. I'm just kind of discussing it with you openly.
No,
Like
I'm happy to talk about this stuff. I have a
yeah,
lot of thoughts about this stuff.
yeah,
Not even just shorts. I know I've just internet stuff in general. I've had I've had similar experiences where I needed to like walk away from something before. Uh, and I was able to pretty quickly, thankfully, but I've had in the past both a Twitter account and a Reddit account. And the Reddit account, I would get sucked into things really easily,
yeah,
or I would get recommended stuff that was like, depressing and stuff. You'd see all sorts of, things, anecdotal stories or things happening in the world that like you can't do anything about and you didn't necessarily need to see, but you
yeah,
saw them anyway, and it just
yeah,
kind of drains you over time. And it just happened a lot. So I eventually, if like I eventually I realized I was getting sadder and sadder, browsing it, and then I deleted it.
yeah. Same.
And on Twitter, I barely did anything. The only reason I had Twitter was to follow. I had some friends that were artists, and
Mm,
they're primarily on Twitter, I think, generally. So I wanted to follow them, and I followed the Bean Game account as
yeah, of
well.
course.
Their spicy tweets, as they say.
Yeah,
But I barely did anything on there, and yet I still ran into toxicity and drama.
yeah,
And I hear a lot of things from Twitter nowadays that like it's just, it's so easy to get sucked into stuff like that. The way Twitter is now, it's very it's like the biggest example of everything wrong with the internet, pretty much.
it is. It is.
Yeah, the tribalism on there is stronger than just about anywhere else
Yeah,
mainstream.
yeah,
It's insane how people react to, disagreements anymore. It's saddening and frightening.
yeah. Because you see it
So
reflect in real life. Like I swear, I talk to some people in real life. They sound like a Twitter user.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
you'll be talking to them and they do not hear what you're saying. They just
hmm
react, and
Yeah,
it's
their knee-jerk
concerning. Yeah,
reactions are insane. Yeah.
yeah. Like again, this is anecdotal. I have no data to prove this, but just saying in my experience, what I've noticed. You definitely need a certain amount of like willpower on Twitter. Because I'm not gonna lie,
hmm
it even gets to me sometimes. I'm like, man, like these people are relentless. Like they just can't. They can't let up, or just outright nasty.
hmm
Yeah, Reddit was my biggest awakening, I guess, in that aspect. Because if you have a conflict, like it's inherent, just like Twitter, in a way. I don't mind though. I've learned to appreciate the conversation, but I feel like Reddit's a lot worse in my opinion because it's like the way that subreddits are designed, it just like inherently is an echo chamber. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I get what you mean.
Like it's
Definitely.
so hard for me to find conflicting opinions on Reddit because I'll go on there and I'll be like, guys, like you actually agree with this? I'll get downvoted to heck.
Yep.
Even though I'm
And that's the
100%,
thing,
yeah,
People who
I
disagree with the majority, they get downvoted and they get hidden.
yes, yes, yes. I was
That just
like,
exacerbates it. Like, what kind of system is that?
it's not. Yeah, that is like Reddit is echo chamber heaven. Like, if you just want to hang out with people who agree with you, Reddit's perfect. And sometimes that's necessary. Like, I love subreddits for like gaming tips, for example. I would love to go on like a subreddit for like a certain game because you'll see things that maybe you weren't aware of and other people who are
Right.
passionate about it. But when it comes to like maybe more hypersensitive topics, I can't stand Reddit, man. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. And Twitter the same way. When it's a little more of a sensitive topic, a little more controversial topic, Twitter becomes very difficult.
Hmm.
So,
I
yeah.
never even talked on there and I had to delete it.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
couldn't stand, getting stuff recommended to me that was, all this seeing all this drama and stuff and depressing stuff around the world too. That's a lot of places, but like, and I kind of had that's kind of a me thing. The summer of 2020, I was basically trapped in one house in like not even like locked. It wasn't even related to lockdown. We had a family member we needed to take care of, and I was essentially trapped and with only a couple online friends to talk to at all. It was very unfun, and I got exposed to a lot of the worst of the world through
Unfortunately.
the news on the TV in the other room and on Instagram and everything. So yeah, I cannot handle that stuff, and I've learned to, avoid it as best I can because it's not like I can do much of anything anyway. But aside from that, just I would, in like comment sections of some of the artists or, on the even, it was just, I just hated looking at it. It's just so, it's just everywhere. The toxicity and drama. Or, I think very common, I would get recommended someone who like was associated with one of the people I followed, and they were just, someone just like, just very sorry I'm stammering so much. Uh
Take your time.
they were just, they were like, what you think of as a Twitter user more than
Yeah.
they were like what the kind of person they were. So like people associated with the people I followed would be, those argumentative, disagreeable, no, you can't have a different opinion than me. If you do, you're just a bad person, kind of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still navigating it. I'm still young in this aspect, so I'm slowly learning to appreciate the conversation. Slowly, I know. I know. Maybe I'm not, but I'm not gonna tell you to go see my Twitter, but I am gonna tell people who are watching. You can see how I engage with people, and it's typically lighthearted. Like I try not to take absolutely anything they say seriously. I try to have fun with it instead, and it's good for like outreach. Like obviously,
Yeah,
I'd like to grow my channel, but considering your position and how you look at things, yeah, I would tell you the same way. Avoid Twitter.
yeah.
Why
I
would you?
actually,
Yeah.
I actually can't look at your Twitter at all, even if I wanted to right now, because of Elon's latest change.
Oh yeah, yeah. That guy, man. Uh
Can't read tweets if you're not logged in, and self DDoS in the process. It's
yeah,
great.
it's yeah. I was reading that. I was like, wait, what? Even when I first saw it, I think it was like early in the morning. I was like, I need to get a coffee. So I get my coffee. I'm like, maybe I'm not thinking right. So I read it again. I'm like, well, this helps absolutely no one. This is
Yeah,
that
exactly.
just like there's nothing. What's the benefit? And I forgot the rationale behind it too. Something about like bot accounts or something. I don't know. It just I don't know. I don't see how that's just it. I yeah. I'm stammering now too. Like I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to understand and I just can't. It
It was
I get
already
it. Like
hard
he's
enough to
trying
read
to yeah,
tweets.
he's really trying to incentivize the Twitter blue. I get it. I don't know if that's the way, Chief, though. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's the way.
Yeah.
There's a million other ways to skin a cow. I don't know if that's the right one, though. Like, limiting, and even Twitter Blue users are being limited, and everyone's kind of trying to, like, at least on my algorithm, they're trying to justify it by saying, like, maybe it's good for you, you should touch grass. Like, that's my point. Like, I actually need this. Like, I want to engage with as many people as possible. So, like, I don't see how you're helping me now. You know what I mean? Like, the original
Yeah,
purpose is
yeah.
why I got Twitter Blue, is so that way I could expand my outreach more. I was like, oh, perfect. I can pay for a little promotion. Now you're taking that away from me because bots, uh, like what the hell did I pay for? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
granted, it's a large amount, but the difference between like free users and paid users is substantial. But even still, like, why set a limit? I don't understand. You know, what if I have someone on my team who works on my social media and that's all they do all day? You know what I mean? You got to think about that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Because not everyone who has their Twitter owns their Twitter. They may have like a social media person who engages, so that way you can potentially get more viewers. You know what I mean? I just, yeah, I'm with you there. That change makes. I was like, Elon, bro, like, I'm usually batting for you, but this one, I don't know about this one, Chief. You're kind of
It even
like,
breaks some beds.
I don't get it, man. Yeah.
People in my Discord server have to screenshot tweets now
Yeah.
instead of just sharing stuff. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone's just like, let's just use Discord. I'm like, yeah, that's what's going to happen. You did it to yourself. I mean, that's the free market for you, right? If you want to make those types of decisions, people are going to respond. You ain't going to like it. I think it would be best mentally for you to stay away from that. And I get it, man. It even rubs off on me sometimes. Sometimes even on stream, man, people will say stuff. I'm just like, you're making me want to be something I'm not right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of it is
Uh-huh.
so reactionary, and I noticed that. I even had a private conversation with one of our viewers. I was like, dude, like, why you always trying to get a reaction out of me, homie? Like, what's your issue? You know what I'm saying? Everything's
Literally
just
like a playground bully.
right. Like, why you trying to get me to react negatively? Like, what's the fun in it for you? You like pissing me off? That just doesn't make sense. You know? It's not good. It's not good.
And some people like that want to take it out of context and make you look like the bad guy too. There's a
Right,
lot of
right,
people out
right.
there
Because
like
that's
that.
what's gonna eventually happen. Like, I'm human, you know? So
Hmm.
when you're constantly getting poked at, I want to respond in the way that I would, but like you said, like, taken out of context, it'll look bad. So I don't know. It's a shame, but I'm starting to ignore more people than I probably should, or outright blocking them, because it's like, I mean, how would you tolerate that? Someone who's always just in your chat just to get a reaction out of you,
Yeah, no, no, I wouldn't. I've
right?
already had to deal with that for years.
Exactly. You know what I mean? I mean, you've been in my streams. You know how I am. I'm typically not raging.
Yeah.
I'm typically pretty just. I'm just enjoying the game. GG's, whatever. It's a competitive environment, but I don't like make it toxic. I try not to, at least. But it's starting to get to a point now where I'm noticing more and more people are just like saying things to get a reaction out of me, and it's starting to kind of like
Hmm.
it's kind of disappointing.
Yeah, I've kind of noticed that too.
You notice that? Yeah,
Yeah, it's gotten a little more unruly, I guess.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'm coming up with ways to kind of cut down on that now, because I'm gonna be honest, man. Like, that's it's an unfortunate, maybe a byproduct of what I created, or I don't know if it's the culture that we're in. Like, I don't know what you think. Because Twitter, right? Twitter, TikTok, all these social media outlets seem to be reactionary. You see it, you react to it, you don't think about it. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Maybe that's
Yeah.
what they're expecting me to be, or did I attract that audience? I mean, what would be your thoughts? Because I actually want to
I
know.
They probably do. It probably is the former, I would say. They're just expecting that from you. Well, Um, Definitely more now than in the past. I think the Fall Guys community is a little iffy,
Hmm.
and they're getting. It's probably like I feel like a lot of it is like it's probably a lot of the people are like edgy teenagers, right? They 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 either play the game, know about the game, and they're just they're what you would they're like more of what you would expect like a 12-year-old gamer to be, right? So I think that's probably part of it. I haven't experienced too much of this, but that's what I would expect to be the
Yeah.
case. It's not always that, but I feel like that's part of it,
Yeah. Because I try not
especially now
to.
that the game's free to play.
Yeah, like I try not to like be that way. I don't think I am.
No,
Right? Like hyper
you're
reactionary.
better
Just
you're better about that than I am.
right, right. Like, and I appreciate you saying that. So I'm like, I don't think I give off the impression that I'm reactionary. I don't think. Like, damn, I'm talking to people for almost 3 hours. You know what I mean? Have I gaslit you or tried to make you upset this whole time? Like, I don't think so.
Would not say so. No.
Right, right. Like, am I on here like, so how do you feel about this? Oh, are you just this? Like, no.
Good Lord, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So when they're doing that to me, I'm like, who are you?
Yeah.
Is this the right stream? I, I didn't know I didn't know my name was Hasanabi. Like, what is going on? I'm so confused. So, I'm trying to rationalize. I'm trying to navigate it. I don't know if I need to cut people off or just ignore it, but I feel like more and more I'm starting to learning. I'm realizing that now that I need to like navigate that better, not react and just kind of just let things sit and kind of like
Right.
change the subject. Maybe use it against them. Maybe there's because I see it. Like I see other streamers do it. I don't know if you experience this, but like if you watch any of the bigger names or mid tier streamers, they do that. They'll like completely distract the chat from a subject. There'll be a very few people though that notice what they did. You notice? Have you seen this?
Uh, I don't watch too many other streamers, honestly.
Like they'll
A
use
lot of the
the
streamers, I think they're kind of just not my cup of tea, the way that they, organize things, or they're
okay,
or like, it's hard to say. I don't want to be rude. They do what they do.
yeah,
I
yeah,
have
yeah. I
nothing
get you.
against them. It's just not, a lot of streamers just aren't really for me, and that's okay.
Yeah, I get you. I get.
But
That's what I mean. Like,
I should keep that in mind. That's a really because my chat is getting bigger and bigger, more
yeah,
active, and that's something I should keep in mind because I haven't had anyone be like mean to me yet.
right.
I've had people like on the edge, but like they're like in situations. They're like they're not like intentionally being awful. There's just like something going on with them. They're upset, but not like being mean. I haven't really experienced that yet, aside from the trolls and bots,
Yeah,
random the people that just want to get banned. You
yeah,
know,
yeah. Like obviously they do,
yeah.
or they're asking for a timeout.
But like it's getting close. I think
Yeah,
it's getting close to the point where I would need to start watching out for that and thinking about what to do about that.
yeah. Like I don't know.
And
Like what I've seen. What I've seen is like I said, the larger mid tier streamers, they'll use the short attention span almost against them and just completely say something that's just like out of it that they just forgot like what just happened. You know what I mean? That seems to have been working a lot. And then for me, what's worked for me in the past is just ignoring it. I just
yeah,
ignore it and just move on. Just keep focusing on the gameplay or something. But I don't know if that's an environment I want because I've been told, well, not told, but I've learned that getting, I guess, like getting rid of certain people in your community, especially in your chat, is actually better for you than just letting them sit there and linger and like infest the minds of chat so that way they think that that's okay.
right.
So it's just one of those things. I don't know. I don't know where I'm at with it, but I'll let you know what I find out. But
All right.
yeah, but I'm slowly, little by little, learning how to navigate that because I genuinely don't know. But you gotta have fun with it too. You know, sometimes maybe they just want to have fun with you too. So, like everything, there's a balance. You know, I think
Yeah.
you have to know the difference between flat out toxicity and oh, they're just like poking fun. You know, they're just having fun.
Yeah, I could, it's usually pretty clear
Yeah,
if it's like, know, usually like, it's I can usually tell like an attack from like, just a joke usually. If
yeah,
people say, like a skill issue comment or something, that's it's fine. But like then
yeah,
there's, more thought out attacks and stuff that I haven't experienced too much of yet, which is nice.
yeah.
And also, uh, well, I wanted to mention this about how I act on stream, I would say, because I think, I'm making a change for the better. I know back, sort of speaking of being reactionary, not so much with my chat, but I definitely raged a lot more when I started doing the Fall Guys streams. I that like some of those are still up. If anyone out there wants a taste of what I used to be like, probably don't though.
Yeah.
But um there's that there I wasn't like I wasn't like, targeting chat at all. It's just, very reactionary stuff happening in the game, but like and I think I've gotten better at like being chill over time. Like by the time free for all came around, a lot of the like reactionary rage was, subdued. I had gotten mostly over that. I know I've had problems after that where I get flustered and stuff. That's happened more and more in SS3 in particular. Um, I do also have the Lemming streams where I'm chill as can be, and that's like the point of those streams, honestly, is to be a chill space to just talk, and people like it, and so do I. It's those are really nice. I usually don't have a problem there, but I think lately, you know, the first stream that I did in SS4 was yeah, things went bad, but since then, I think I've, thought things over a bit, and I don't know. I think I think I am now finally on an upward trend in
Mm.
terms of like staying chill on stream, and I'm definitely like limiting myself more seriously now. I don't want to go on too long.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just think I can actually see a change in myself now for the better, because
That's
I have not like broken down for the past several streams or anything like that.
that's
So
beautiful. Yeah, little results, little by little. I see you. I
yeah,
mean, I know there's outside factors. I don't know if you want to get into it here that let's just say don't help the situation.
yeah,
I'm assuming, without getting into detail, that those are being handled little by little too. Because let's be honest, like our real lives leak into the content whether we like it or not.
absolutely. And I don't try too hard to hide like what's wrong with me,
Yeah,
or like I make people aware of it. I do try to work on it.
yeah.
I'm open, at least I'm somewhat open about everything, but I do work on it at the same time. And that's not something I don't think you see that too awful much on the internet anymore.
No, no. You are very open about some of your conditions, which I appreciate because I'm gonna be honest. Like I'm gonna tell you my side, and I hope you don't take it the wrong way, but it does inspire me in a way. Like the fact that you're so willing to kind of throw. Again, I'm not gonna speak for you. I'm not gonna say what they are, but the fact that you're so open about it, I don't know. I think it's kind of cool, man. Not in a like, ooh, look at him way. More like in a
Yeah, yeah.
like I can respect that you embrace who you are and you're not trying to hide it. is what I mean.
I
Uh,
have a hard time embracing who I am in general, but being open about stuff like that is definitely a step in that direction.
it is, and I do appreciate that about you. Just want you to know that
And
because I
thank
don't
you. That
have
means a
some of
lot.
those struggles, but I'm like, damn, like if this dude can stream and have these, these issues, I got no excuses, bro. That's kind of how I look at it, Um, and the fact that you're still here with us says a lot too, because internet's a brutal place, man. It has no mercy for anyone. And
Yeah. I've definitely had some horrible moments, so it is nice to still be here
yeah,
after everything.
yeah, it is,
And
it is.
I will say the external factors, they're kind of on hold right now, like working on them because I'm like calming down is one thing, but there's other things that I've working on, but I can't I don't have the resources at this moment, but I
Yeah,
know that I will in
good, good.
time. So I have plans because, you know, it's good that people know about this stuff, but it's also good to work on what you can. So
Yeah,
I think it's nice that if people are aware that and it's like if people are aware that you have an issue and you're working on it, I think that's a good thing for people to know.
it is, it is, it is. Like I said, I appreciate you, man. I think you're a genius. I think you're gonna go far, not just in this space, but in life in general. And I'm honored that I was able to speak to you personally. I think this was a productive conversation, and I'm glad that you're doing better, man. Because I was concerned about you in those moments, and people would blow me up like, "Hey, check on tomato," but
I saw that. I like went back sometimes and saw that, and like I didn't even know what to think about that because that for the vast majority of my life, nothing like that. No one would have ever even considered doing anything like that for me. And it's just I didn't even know what to think about it. It's so
well, we
yeah.
we do care
And
about you, man. I kind of was like getting used to it. I was like, yeah, he does that, but you do get back up on your feet, so I know you're aware. Like, I don't want to talk to
yeah.
you like you're stupid either. Like, I know you're aware of what's going on, and I know you know what to do because, as you've just said yourself, you may not have the resources to deal with certain things, but you're working on it.
Hmm.
So I gave you the benefit of the doubt. I think I knew, like, I think you knew. I think, how do I say this?
Yeah.
I felt like, and I hope I'm right about this, that deep down you knew that you could do better, and you have been.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
so I think to be fair to you, I was kind of like, yeah, like, you know, I didn't want to harp on it too much, but again, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm perfect, dude, because like I said, especially as of late, like I feel like I've been getting tested, bro. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
I'm about two more streams away from having my moment. So people just, whether it be the game or people, like they just test you, man. They test you, and I don't know
Hmm.
why. I don't get it. So I'm on your side, man. Like I get it, dude. Like I said, I'm about one or two streams away from just like being like, dude, like seriously, like why? Like what's your issue? And then
Yeah.
I look like the bad guy.
Hmm.
I get it. So, but I know you're doing a lot better, and I could tell. You just, I noticed you're starting to like know your limits, which I should too. Like, you can only stream so much before like you kind of start getting a little irritable or tired, or it's just not the same
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think, I'm keeping it to 2 and 2.5 hours, or at least I'm try to. There
Yeah.
was like one of my viewer level streams was kind of disorganized, but in response to that,
Mm.
this is an example of how I'm trying to do better. I have started like putting up a queue on screen and in like so like people can see how far back they are in line easily at any time. I don't feel like setting up bots just yet, so I don't really have that kind of system, but it's more clear that way anyway. And I had and I made it to where, you know, it's only within the stream. I think I'm gonna try streaming at like different times to make it more fair for people, and I might end up. I'll see what I can do about like people who can't make the streams too much. But for right now, the system I have, I have a clean slate at the start of every stream, and after enough time, I close the queue. So the no more levels come in. That's that, and people will understand.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that way I can actually end the stream and it not just go on forever.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Do you find did you
I'm
find it?
working at it.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like the best thing once you learn how to say no, man, like it's a freeing moment. Once you just learn how to say, look, man, it's just,
Oh,
it hurts. Like, don't get me wrong. Um, like having to cut someone off or having to say no to someone or just understanding that maybe they're not for you. But once you do that, once you have the ability to just say no, right? It's a freeing experience, man.
definitely. I
Yeah.
still struggle with that a lot, but
Yeah.
in certain situations, I'm able to do it.
Yeah.
And I definitely know the feeling, you know, the freeing feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. It's life's a lot better when you say no, man. Trust me.
Hmm.
I'm really starting to learn that because unfortunately, if some people can't, you give somebody an inch, they'll take a mile sometimes. So
Hmm.
you'll really sit there and say like, look, man, like just not gonna do that today, and lo and behold, um, maybe they were used to being told yes their whole life, and it's like a mental breakdown. But sometimes it's best to cut yourself from people like that because you want people who want to support you, man. People who want you to be happy.
Exactly.
Yeah. If that
And I
means
feel
you,
very fortunate that I'm mostly surrounded by people like that.
that's good.
I can't say enough how amazing my community is at this point. You know, most of the people in my streams and just about everyone on my server is like the nicest person ever. And they're not like they call me out on things too. Like
That's good.
if I need to be. It
Yeah.
doesn't happen too often, but they do it occasionally, and that's very valuable. And they're generally very supportive and they want to see me do better. And it's, you know, I don't know what I'd do without them. They're what make this all worth it after all. So
Major shout out to the Discord server,
yeah.
huh? That's good, man. Well, yeah. Dude, it's been a pleasure, man. I appreciate you doing this, seriously.
Yeah, this has been awesome talking to you. This is yeah, I'm glad to be on this. This means a whole lot that you had me on.
It does, to me too. I've always wanted to talk to you more. I feel like we didn't get the chance to. I appreciate you mustering up the courage to do this. A lot of people get scared, man. You'd be surprised.
It was frightening. I was a little nervous,
Yeah. That's what I was
definitely.
afraid of. I was like, oh gosh, I hope he doesn't like jet out on me. But you stuck through, man, and I appreciate that, seriously.
That means
Um,
a whole lot.
of course. Anytime. And feel free to reach out if you want to come back. Um, anything you want to let the people know though? Anything you got going on? Anything they should expect from you?
Um,
Final thoughts?
okay,
Something you want to bring
I have
up?
a couple things. I have a
Okay.
couple
Yeah.
things.
Floor is yours, brother.
Stuff to expect from me. I've so all right, on my music channel, I post covers of the Fall Guys soundtrack, and I've been going through the whole thing. Um, I've got two more songs from SS4 that I'm going to make and post eventually. I don't know when. I've been working kind of slow, but they are definitely in the works, and I'm excited to do them. So if you like that sort of thing, chiptunes and the Fall Guys OST, yeah, definitely stick around for that. I think that's about all I have like planned, I guess. I don't know.
Dude, I love it. I love it. I love it. I highly encourage that. Both links will be in the description, guys. Definitely check out his music, especially if you like that old retro style stuff and the Fall Guys stuff. Yeah, couldn't recommend it enough.
Oh, I do have one thing to bring up. this was probably more relevant earlier, but I do want to give a shout out to someone in particular who makes really good levels in Fall Guys Creative.
Hit me with
Uh,
it.
uh, yeah, their YouTube is BCL, the word B like bumblebee. I'll give a link or something.
Yeah, please do.
We'll handle that. Uh, he makes amazing, just phenomenal Fall Guys levels. They've been in my streams, and it's just they're truly incredible. They look amazing, and they're all fun to play. And you know, I think something I didn't really talk about. I think what makes you a really good creator in Fall Guys if you're able to take constructive criticism.
Yeah, it
So
looks like he has like a bumblebee on his profile
yeah,
pic.
there it
Okay.
is. You found it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic Fall Guys levels.
Okay.
Check
Okay.
those out.
I'll be sure to do that. BCL. Okay.
They're
Yeah.
also really nice, by the way. Just
So be nice to them too, you little gremlins.
exactly.
All right. Cool. Shout out to him. BCL. I'll remember that name. Anyway, yeah, man. Cool stuff. Dude, listen. Anytime you need me, reach out. We love you. We think you're great. We appreciate you. I look forward to talking to you more. And yeah, I think this was a good conversation. And I hope this was fruitful to you and your community that's been so supportive to you, you know? And I think them
Yeah,
seeing you on here is going to be a big step into your progress of, just life in general, man. I think we need more conversations. I think you realize that, maybe that's why you got off Reddit, Twitter,
definitely.
and we can have healthy disagreements, healthy conversations, and just talk. You know, I'm always here, man. You know that more than anyone. So,
Yeah,
yeah, man. I appreciate you, dude. Like I said, everything's in the description. Tomato Wanderer, shout out to you. Yeah, we're gonna definitely play some of your music at the end of this if that's cool with you, man.
that is 100% cool with me.
All right,
I'm
bet.
delighted, actually.
All right, cool, cool, cool. We'll do that. All right, guys. I'll see you, man. Dope episode for sure, right? I love it.
Definitely.
My man.